Chapter 57. Wang Feng sat where he was. The red lotus bloomed in his hand, guiding the black soul ring into his body. The Star Moon Fox looked at Wang Feng curiously. This was the second time it had seen its savior absorb a soul ring. The first time, he almost died. His whole body was almost smashed to pieces by the power of the golden lightning leopard. But this time, it was the power of a 10,000-year soul beast. Could he bear it? The black soul ring enveloped Wang Feng's body, and a huge amount of energy poured into Wang Feng's body. However, this time, Wang Feng revealed a slight smile. Last time, the soul ring of the 6,000-year gold light thunder leopard had been filled with violent, manic, and resentful energy. It was filled with destructive energy. It was even more uncontrollable. The moment it entered Wang Feng's body, it quickly disintegrated. But this time, it was completely different. The Icea Emperor Lizard doesn't have any resentment towards me. It is even grateful. Therefore, although the energy that poured into the soul ring was also destructive, it wasn't violent or manic. Most importantly, it was under my control. Wang Fengxin thought. The difference between being under his control and not being under his control was too big. He thought of soul beast sacrifice, but obviously, this wasn't a soul beast sacrifice. This Icea Emperor Lizard was too weak to absorb it. However, it allowed him to control this energy. The moment the black soul ring poured into Wang Feng's body, it was directly controlled by Wang Feng into the green lotus in his sea of consciousness. The second lotus seed in the center of the green lotus platform bloomed into a red lotus. A huge amount of energy poured into the red lotus like the sea. In an instant, the red lotus began to grow rapidly. The petals began to expand and its size began to increase. It was originally only the size of a palm, but with the influx of energy, it quickly expanded and bloomed. As if it had awakened, it turned into a brighter, clearer, and more beautiful red lotus. Then, the petals of the red lotus were slowly covered with a layer of ice, as if they were embellishments, adding a dreamy ice crystal color to them. However, the lotus petals were scarlet, reflecting the ice crystals, flickering with scarlet light. It was very dazzling but also full of explosive power. It was as if the red lotus was covered with a layer of ice crystal. It was as if a layer of ice had covered the scarlet flames, sealing the terrifying power of the flames. Even though the red lotus had finished absorbing the soul power, there was still a portion of the soul power left in the soul ring. As for this portion, Wang Feng controlled it to circulate throughout his body until it finally converged in his heart. Although it was still extremely painful, it was much better than the violent and uncontrollable first soul ring that was rampaging through his body. Furthermore, being able to control it meant that Wang Feng could control it to enter his heart and into his meteoric tear. Purify this soul power into something that only he could use. Under Wang Feng's control, an unending stream of energy surged into Wang Fengxin's dirty meteoric tear. Wisps of pure soul power were compressed, purified, and extracted from the meteoric tear. Wang Feng's energy, which was like a surging river, continued to flow. If he could not control this energy, Wang Feng would have already self-destructed. Even if he could control it, without the meteoric tear, Wang Feng's body would not be able to withstand the power of this 10,000-year soul ring. It could be said that if the Icea Emperor Lizard hadn't willingly become his soul ring, and if it hadn't been for the fact that there wasn't a trace of resentment within the energy, and that it hadn't affected his mind at all, he wouldn't have had the chance to absorb it at all. Even with the meteoric tear, it would not have been enough. Because the enormous amount of energy brought by the 10,000-year soul ring could cause his body and consciousness to explode in an instant, the meteoric tear would not have had time to reforge his body. After a long time, Wang Feng opened his eyes, which flashed with rainbow light. 2 soul rings slowly rose from his body. One purple, one black. My soul power rank should have reached 23. Wang Feng took a deep breath. According to his normal speed, It would take him at least half a year to reach these 3 ranks. Most of the energy of the 10,000-year soul ring was used to upgrade the Red Lotus and break through the bottleneck of cultivation, while a small part was compressed and purified by the meteoric tear. Even this small part, under normal circumstances, was enough for an ordinary soul master to directly rush from rank 20 to rank 30, and then directly explode and die. But for Wang Feng, the compression and purification of his soul power only increased his soul power by 3 ranks. It seems that I should be able to reach rank 30 in 5 years. Moreover, I now have a 10,000-year soul ring, which fulfills the requirements for checking in at the Shrek Academy. A trace of joy appeared on Wang Feng's face. I don't have to worry about the 3rd soul ring. He felt the explosive energy in his body. My body has become lighter again. It seems that my physical fitness has also improved, although it is not as great as the first time, when my body was reforged. But the improvement is also very obvious. Because his body was still wearing weight protection, Wang Feng felt it even more clearly. If the current me deifies myself, I can easily crush that 6,000-year golden lightning leopard. Wang Feng clenched his hands. Even if I can't defeat a 10,000-year soul beast, I can still escape unscathed. When I reach rank 30, I should have a chance to defeat a 10,000-year soul beast. One had to know that a 10,000-year soul beast was equivalent to a rank 61 soul emperor. If Wang Feng were to face that rank 40 soul ancestor again, even if he didn't use the Red Lotus, he would still be able to kill him. Wang Feng would be able to close in on him and kill him the moment he attacked. He wouldn't give his opponent a chance to use a soul skill. The remaining 7 ranks are harder than the previous one. Moreover, I need to stabilize my 3 ranks in less than half a day. Wang Feng pondered. Soon after, he opened his palm, and the ice crystal Red Lotus bloomed. This Red Lotus was clearly much more beautiful than before it absorbed the soul ring. The lotus petals were covered with ice crystals, reflecting the bright red lotus petals inside. The combination of ice and fire was full of contradictions and magnificence. Let me test your strength. Wang Feng stood up. The Star Moon Fox, who was sleeping beside him, rubbed its sleepy eyes. It looked at Wang Feng and howled a few times. The 2-meter-long Aisya Emperor lizard also opened its eyes from where it was lying on the ground. It looked at Wang Feng in a daze, and there was still some sadness in its eyes. Wang Feng said to the 2 soul beasts, "You 2 little fellows, back away." The Star Moon Fox obediently took the Aisya Emperor lizard and retreated. After Wang Feng finished speaking, he ignored the 2 soul beasts for the time being. Instead, he tapped his toes on a nearby tree and leapt dozens of meters into the air. Following that, Wang Feng activated the Red Lotus in his hand. He plucked one of the ice crystal petals and infused it with his soul power. The petals of the Golden Lotus were a deified soul skill. They could double one's overall strength, and they could also paralyze attack. As for this Red Lotus, Wang Feng could feel the terrifying strength within it. Go! Wang Feng plucked a Red Lotus petal and infused it with half of his full soul force. Then, he directly threw it forward. Under the illumination of the rising sun, the bright-colored lotus petal, which was wrapped in ice crystals, gave off a strange glow. Explode! Wang Feng seemed to be able to feel the terrifying strength within the petals. In the next moment, the ice crystal shattered. Terrifying flames burst out from the ice crystals. Boom! Everything within 100 meters. 2 terrifying powers of ice and fire swept through everything. Even Wang Feng wasn't spared from the massive area. Everything in its path was turned into ashes. Following that, everything was covered in thick ice. All the uncles within a radius of 200 meters were quickly turned into ashes by the flames. There was even a hole in the ground. Wang Feng's clothes were burnt to a crisp, his body was also covered in a thick layer of ice. Countless ice shards shot towards his body, causing clanking sounds. After a brief moment, Wang Feng was speechless as he watched the scene in front of him. This second soul skill is an extremely large area of effect attack. Furthermore, it seems to be a little strong. With this strength, even defense-type soul masters below rank 40 would have to say goodbye to it. Wang Feng retrieved a set of clothes from his soul tool and put them on. He was a little shocked as he looked at the ground that had been razed to the ground. As he stared at the red lotus in his hand, Wang Feng thought to himself, if I detonate all the petals and the entire red lotus, I'm afraid. Wang Feng shook his head and pondered. Chapter 58. After naming his second soul skill, Wang Feng descended from the sky. He saw the Star Moon Fox and the Icea Emperor Lizard staring at him. There was a hint of fear in the eyes of the two soul beasts. Evidently, the terrifying explosion had frightened them. Even now, there were still sizzling sounds coming from the crater in front of them. Icicles were stuck in the surrounding trees and soil. Wang Feng walked in front of the Icea Emperor Lizard and sized it up. The Icea Emperor Lizard looked a little like the violent salamander from the Pokémon Wang Feng was familiar with in his previous life. However, its entire body was icy blue, and so were its wings. Right now, this Icea Emperor Lizard was only 2 meters tall, while the 10,000-year Icea Emperor Lizard was 10 meters tall. Evidently, this Icea Emperor Lizard was very weak. It's too big, so I can't bring it out. However, if it's in the soul hunting forest, it'll be easy for soul masters to kill it. Wang Feng muttered. Then, I'll have to come and see this Icea Emperor Lizard often. After all, this was the soul hunting forest, and it was built by humans. There were guards patrolling the area, and the Icea Emperor Lizard was too big to be brought out. I'll come and see you often in the future. Wang Feng looked at the Star Moon Fox and said, when I become stronger, I'll find a chance to bring you out. If you encounter soul masters or soul beasts that you can't beat in the forest, try to run away. It's okay if you're injured. As long as you're not dead, I can save you. Understand? His words were directed at the Starry Moon Fox because it was much more intelligent than the others. The Icea Emperor Lizard was still very ignorant. Ayo, the Star Moon Fox nodded, then roared a few more times at the Icea Emperor Lizard, as if it was sending a message. After Wang Feng said a few more words of advice, he walked back from here. The sky was already bright. When he returned to the camp, Si Rong, Blackie, and Ling Ren were already awake. Their injuries were almost healed, but they were still missing their arms. Wang Feng thought that if he was stronger, it wouldn't be difficult for him to regrow their arms with the Golden Lotus healing abilities. I know you have some questions in your hearts. Wang Feng looked at the three of them and said slowly, both of them are dead, and I'm the one who healed your injuries. After leaving the soul hunting forest, he would leave the city he was in. That noble lady's family isn't simple. If they know that the two of you died in the soul hunting forest and hired our team while you guys survived, they definitely won't let you guys off. However, there are a lot of teams outside the soul hunting forest. Even if they find you, they won't waste their energy looking for you as long as you leave. Go to another city. Wang Feng looked at the three of them. Lin Shan was a noble lady from the Fasno province, one of the many provinces in the Heaven Do Empire. Wang Feng estimated that the strongest among them should be around level 60. Wang Feng didn't have the confidence to deal with them, nor did he have the time. Moreover, Lin Shan and the old servant were as dead as they could be. There wasn't even a trace of them left behind. Once Si Rong and the other two quietly disappeared from Fasno province, they wouldn't be able to track them down. Okay. Old He and Ling Ren nodded without saying anything else. It wasn't easy for him to stay alive. That's good too. I've been wanting to leave Fasno province for a long time. Si Rong suddenly smiled. Little Mia, where do you want us to go? Both Ling Ren and Blackie were stunned. Wang Feng was also stunned. I won't leave Fasno province for the time being, Wang Feng said. He had a disguise. Even his name was fake. Si Rong and the other two had never seen his face. Lin Shan's family wouldn't be able to track him down. However, I'll return to Soto City in the neighboring Bartok Kingdom in about 5 years, Wang Feng said. Alright, let's go to Soto City first. The Bartok Kingdom is a kingdom of the Heaven Do Empire. With the current situation, it's no longer under the jurisdiction of the Heaven Do Empire. They only provide tributes every year. Phasno Province can't do anything here. Si Rong smiled. Although Old He and Ling Ren have lost their hands, they can still fight. At the very least, they won't starve to death. We'll wait for you in Soto City. Si Rong looked at Old He and Ling Ren as if asking for their opinion. The two looked at each other and nodded solemnly. Alright, I'll come to Soto City to find you. Wang Feng took a deep breath and looked at the three of them. He then walked out of the soul-hunting forest. It was already close to noon. Outside the soul-hunting forest, the sun was high in the sky. The gentle sunlight shone down on the world. Wang Feng felt a strange warmth as he walked out of the forest. It was a feeling he had never experienced before. The sunlight shone on Wang Feng's black robe. It was as if the sunlight wanted to pass through the robe and reach the young man underneath. Wang Feng turned around and looked at the majestic soul-hunting forest in the distance. His heart rippled. After taking a glance, Wang Feng turned around. His black robe fluttered slightly as he slowly disappeared into the crowd. 5 years later. Balak Kingdom, Soto City. There were 4 kingdoms in the Heaven Do Empire. Every kingdom had their own military forces. Among them, the Balak Kingdom was the strongest. In the Balak Kingdom, apart from Balak City, there was another city that was equally famous. It was located in the middle of the most fertile plains in the Balak Kingdom. It was called the Balak Granary, Soto City. At this moment, in this heavily guarded Soto City, inside the luxurious Rose Hotel, in the main hall, 2 figures were fighting in midair. It was as if layers of dense webs were intertwined in midair. The air seemed to be exceptionally cold. Xiao San, you can do it! Beside the counter, a girl in pink clothes was shouting loudly. However, the worry in her eyes revealed the nervousness in her heart. Not long after, the battle seemed to have ended. One of the men was wrapped in countless tenacious dark green strands of blue-silver grass. He was wrapped like a dumpling and couldn't move. This man was rather tall. He had dazzling golden hair and deep blue eyes. Even though he was bound and couldn't move, there was still a faint smile on his face. A rank 29 Tool Soul Master can use blue-silver grass to force me, Dai Mubai, to this extent. I have to say you're very strong. It's a pity. If I were at the same level as you, I would have lost today. After he finished speaking, the other man standing opposite him frowned and said, What are you trying to say? The man was about 1.7 meters tall. He wore a tight blue robe with a belt inlaid with 24 jade stones around his waist. He had a well-proportioned body. He wasn't considered handsome, but he gave people a feeling of intimacy. That's why it's a pity. The handsome man who called himself Dai Mubai laughed. Suddenly, his laughter came to an abrupt stop. White Tiger's Vajra transformation. A cold voice came out from Dai Mubai's mouth. Following that, a purple soul ring rose from his feet. Following that, his body began to swell slightly. The aura on his body became incomparably strong. Even the other guests, who were hiding in the distance, could feel the surging power. It was as if a fierce tiger was surging towards them. He lightly shook his arms, and the blue-silver grass on his body was completely shattered. The powder from the explosion scattered in all directions, causing the main hall to become hazy. Seeing this, the distant Tang San and Xiao Wu were both stunned. This is the soul skill of a 1,000-year soul ring? Tang San lightly sucked in a breath of cold air. At this moment, Dai Mubai's body was 1 size larger with his martial soul possession. He looked extremely terrifying. Your blue-silver grass can't make up for the difference in absolute strength and rank. Dai Mubai said indifferently, The White Tiger's Vajra transformation can allow me to double my strength and speed for half an hour. With this increase, The poison in your blue-silver grass won't have any effect on me. You can't beat me. Tang San didn't say anything. He only sighed in his heart. He thought to himself, sure enough, there's always someone better. No wonder teacher wanted us to come to Soto City and go to Shrek Academy. There are indeed many geniuses outside. Although he had grown a lot after 5 years of cultivation, he also had a second martial soul and reached rank 29. He was far ahead in Nodding Academy. But he didn't expect that the random person he met in Soto City would be so ridiculously strong. What are you so arrogant for? At this moment, Xiao Wu walked over and supported Tang San. She said angrily, if the three of them were also rank 37, you definitely wouldn't be able to beat third brother. Hearing this, Dai Mubai couldn't help but laugh. He was about to say something. Suddenly, he saw the two people's eyes light up, as if they had seen something. Brother Feng, over here. Xiao Wu and Tang San waved their hands. They looked at the door behind Dai Mubai, and Xiao Wu, who was even more unruly, shouted, we're here. There's a guy here who's using his rank and soul ring to bully us. You have to beat him up for us. Dai Mubai couldn't help but laugh. He thought to himself, these two guys still haven't given up. Chapter 59. Dai Mubai turned around and saw a boy standing at the entrance, lazily leaning against the doorframe. Even with Dai Mubai's sharp eyes, he couldn't help but praise him. What a handsome child! He was extremely confident in his own looks and figure, but when he saw the boy at the entrance, his confidence instantly plummeted. He saw that the boy was wearing a black suit made of a very special material. Even Dai Mubai couldn't tell what quality it was. He also had a dark green windbreaker on the outside. The sleeves were rolled up and his hands were in the pockets. He wore a pair of soldier's riding boots, and his feet were crossed on the ground. It seemed that he had been here for a while. He looks about the same age as me. Dai Mubai furrowed his brows. The boy was about 1.75 meters tall, slightly taller than the two children. His black hair wasn't long and was a little messy, but it didn't give off a messy or dirty feeling. It only gave off a lazy feeling. However, when Dai Mubai saw the boy's face, he realized that the boy wasn't a lazy person. This was because there was a sharp aura between this boy's eyebrows, especially his pair of pitch-black pupils. They were like deep whirlpools in the deep sea, causing people to be immersed in them. His facial features could be said to be perfect on his angular face, giving people a feeling that he had reached the pinnacle in seconds. So handsome! The guests in the hall couldn't help but exclaim softly. They seemed to have been attracted by Xiao Wu's sudden appearance. Especially the two twins who followed Dai Mubai. They were especially dazzling. F***ck. Dai Mubai was extremely annoyed when he heard that. He looked at the boy at the entrance and couldn't help but feel a little more belligerent. Da-da-da. After hearing Xiao Wu's shout, the boy pulled his hands out of his pockets and walked over with a faint smile on his face. You're their big brother? Dai Mubai asked. Do you also want to spar with me? Big brother Feng, beat him up. Xiao Wu waved her fist at Dai Mubai. However, he was stopped by Tang San. This person is very strong. Even if we work together, we won't be able to defeat him, Tang San said with a frown. There's no need to let Big Brother Feng take the risk. It had been 5 years. Big Brother Feng has also grown up a lot. Tang San looked at the figure in the distance, and waves of emotions surged in his heart. In the past 5 years, Xiao Wu and Big Brother Feng often met up. But Big Brother Feng's strength had always been a mystery. There was no doubt that Big Brother Feng's strength had not decreased. Over the past 5 years, Tang San's teacher had also been astonished. This was because Big Brother Feng's soul power hadn't declined like the Grandmaster had predicted. Big Brother Feng's soul power hadn't declined, and his strength had declined greatly. Moreover, Big Brother Feng's life force was even more vigorous. Although Tang San couldn't be sure, he cultivated the mysterious heaven method, so he could faintly sense that Big Brother Feng's life force was abnormally vigorous and vigorous. However, Xiao Wu and I have never seen Brother Feng use his soul force again. In fact, Brother Feng hasn't used his soul force in any of the fights he's had in the past 5 years. Tang San thought to himself. This was something that even his teacher was extremely curious about. His teacher didn't know and couldn't guess how high Brother Feng's soul force rank was. His teacher even said that Lin Feng might be an existence that he would never understand in his life. Lin Feng's existence might go against many common sense in the world of soul masters. What are you afraid of? Xiao Wu chuckled and said, Third brother, have we ever beaten Brother Feng in the past 5 years? Tang San lowered his head and pondered. I think there was one time. Really? Why don't I remember? Xiao Wu said in surprise. Cough cough. Tang San coughed a few times and said, Have you forgotten? You were shameless once. In order to make Brother Feng admit defeat, you pulled me and rolled on the ground. You just wouldn't get up. Before Tang San could finish, Xiao Wu covered his mouth and looked at him with a red face. Shut up. Xiao Wu snorted and said, That was what you wanted to do. Third brother, you wanted to win too much. I didn't. It wasn't me. Don't talk nonsense. Tang San couldn't help but look at Xiao Wu with a wry smile. Okay, I did it, hee. Xiao Wu finally revealed a smile and said, Even if the two of us join hands, we still can't beat Big Brother Feng. However, I feel that Big Brother Feng is definitely stronger than this lewd guy. After saying that, Xiao Wu waved her hand at the man in the distance. Tang San was silent for a moment. In fact, his thoughts were more meticulous. Tang San had a vague feeling that every time Brother Feng fought with them, perhaps, he only used half of his strength. Also, Brother Feng's soul force and soul rings were now a mystery. Xiao Wu once asked Brother Feng about his soul force and soul rings, but Brother Feng just smiled and didn't say anything. What was more frightening was that Brother Feng's understanding of soul beasts was not inferior to his teacher's. One had to know that Brother Feng killed his second soul ring, the ghost rattan, for him in the 2nd year. At that time, he was only rank 20. This ghost rattan was more than 700 years old, and was an extremely terrifying plant-type soul beast. It had an extremely strong neurotoxin. When it attacked, it would release a kind of seed that parasitized the human body. Not only could it transmit this neurotoxin, but it could also absorb nutrient. It was very difficult to deal with. At that time, Master Feng wanted the Dean of Nodding Academy, a soul ancestor over rank 40, to help him kill the 600-year-old ghost rattan. But Brother Feng directly led him into the soul-hunting forest and accurately found the ghost rattan. Then, he quickly subdued the 700-year-old ghost rattan. In less than a few minutes, Tang San was stunned. Later Brother Feng asked, Little San, this ghost rattan is too weak. It's only 700 years old. Why don't you try a 1,000-year-old one? Tang San remembered that he was almost scared to death at that time and directly refused. What a joke! Teacher said that the limit of a second soul ring was 700 years. This ghost rattan was already the best. If it was 1,000 years, wouldn't he explode and die? Thinking of this, Tang San couldn't help but sigh in his heart. At this time, the boy walked in front of Dai Mubai and sized him up curiously. You're Dai Mubai? Dai Mubai felt goosebumps all over his body from this boy's gaze. He couldn't help but say indifferently, I'm Dai Mubai. Why? Do you really want to exchange blows with me? Exchange blows with you? The boy couldn't help but laugh. Don't. I'm afraid I'll beat you to the ground with one punch. His understatement made Dai Mubai's heart beat wildly. In the distance, Xiao Wu and Tang San couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha! As expected of Brother Feng. Xiao Wu grinned. Always more arrogant than others. Then I'd like to see how you'll beat me to the ground with one punch. Dai Mubai forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. He was the dignified evil-eyed white tiger, the boss of the Shrek Academy. This was the first time someone dared to speak to him in such an arrogant manner. Brat, I'm very angry now. Tell me your name and rank. Dai Mubai looked at the boy in front of him with a gloomy expression. The aura on his body became more and more vigorous. His body emitted a strong aura that lingered around him. My name is Wang Feng. As for my rank, if you can take one punch from me, I'll tell you. The boy who called himself Wang Feng took out a hand from his pocket. Good, good, good. Dai Mubai clenched his fist. The surrounding energy slowly revolved and condensed around his body. The surging energy seemed to have condensed into a substance. Suddenly, Dai Mubai's legs were like springs. He leaped high into the air. The aura on his body surged. He was like a ferocious tiger leaping through the forest toward its prey in the distance and launched a fatal attack. The red light in his eyes was even more bloodthirsty. It emitted an incomparably eerie aura. Dai Mubai's entire body was enveloped in a faint golden light. His tiger-like fist was like a falling comet as it blasted toward Wang Feng. The wild energy caused the main hall to flutter. The chandelier on the ceiling also swayed unsteadily. When they saw this punch, the expressions on Tang San's and Xiao Wu's faces turned solemn. Naturally, they could also feel that the current Dai Mubai's strength had likely increased by a little due to the fury in his heart. Chapter 60. Dai Mubai seemed to be infuriated by Wang Feng's indifferent attitude. The berserk power of the white tiger martial spirit was infused into his fist. The two fists collided. Dai Mubai's expression changed drastically. He felt as if his fist had hit a mountain. He didn't even have the slightest bit of confidence. Immediately after, a huge force far beyond his imagination came from his opponent's fist. The terrifying force spread from his arm to his entire body. Dai Mubai was instantly sent flying. A ball of energy exploded in the air. Boom! Like a baseball that had been hit, Dai Mubai's body directly broke a stone pillar in the hall before he barely landed on the ground. He slid back a few meters before he could stabilize himself. The bricks on the ground had a long crack from the impact. Dai Mubai had one knee on the ground and one hand on the ground. His entire body was trembling as if he would collapse at any moment. The air was unusually quiet. On the other side, Wang Feng didn't move at all. He just waved his hand. Are you okay? I used a little too much strength just now. Wang Feng waved at Dai Mubai. In fact, Wang Feng used a lot of strength just now. He used at least 50 to 60% of his strength. He said that to show off. There was no meaning in life if one didn't show off. Seeing this scene from the side, the crowd that was shivering in fear were indeed scared witless. They looked at Wang Feng with astonishment on their faces. Even Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at Wang Feng with their mouths slightly agape. Brother Feng has never lost to anyone in terms of strength, Tang San thought to himself. Seeing this scene, Tang San couldn't help but think of the first time he fought with Brother Feng. He's too strong. Xiao Wu's mouth was wide open. When we fought with Brother Feng, we didn't see him use so much strength. After saying that, Xiao Wu tilted her head and looked at Dai Mubai. She muttered softly, "Or is this guy just a useless spearhead? He looks good, but he's useless? That 1,000-year soul skill just now was just a bluff?" Dai Mubai's mouth twitched when he heard this from afar. "What silver spearhead? Xiao Wu, what are you talking about?" Tang San glared at Xiao Wu. Hee, I'm the boss of Nodding Academy. Naturally, I know everything," Xiao Wu said proudly. Tang San sighed and said, "No, Dai Mubai's strength can't be wrong. Big Brother Feng must have said that on purpose. He must have used a lot of strength, but I didn't think that Big Brother Feng would be stronger than a rank 37 Soul Exalt. That punch just now was twice as strong as his usual one, maybe even stronger." Xiao Wu pouted. At this moment, Dai Mubai slowly stood up. His leg seemed to be injured, but he wasn't injured. "You win." Dai Mubai looked at Wang Feng and said in a low voice, I, Dai Mubai, am not a sore loser, but this room was booked by me. Manager Wang, just give it to them. I don't want it anyway. I'll compensate for the damaged things in the hall. Manager Wang nodded submissively from afar. You're called Wang Feng? Dai Mubai returned to his original appearance, but his clothes were slightly tattered. He waved at the twins in the distance and looked at Wang Feng. If I'm not wrong, you didn't use your martial soul? And your soul force? And your soul rings? What do you think? Wang Feng looked at the twins and couldn't help but think to himself, this Dai Mubai is really outstanding. That's interesting. Dai Mubai placed his hands on the twins' shoulders and gently rubbed them. It seemed like he was using the beautiful skin of a beauty to relieve the pain in his body. Looking at you, you should be around my age, right? Or maybe a little older than me. Dai Mubai sized up Wang Feng a few times and suddenly realized that the twins beside him were also staring at Wang Feng. He couldn't help but press his hands down, causing the twins to groan and quickly retract his gaze. Damn, you're in my arms and you're looking at another man with relish? I've never seen someone who can barely defeat me without using his soul force at this age. Very powerful. Dai Mubai smiled faintly. But don't worry, we'll have a chance to meet again. As for your two friends, they should be at the Shrek Academy, right? They're only around 12 years old. We'll meet again someday. After saying that, Dai Mubai carried the two beautiful twins and walked towards the door in a carefree manner. But after hearing this, Xiao Wu couldn't help but stand up and shout, Hey, you stinking tiger, can you be more shameless? Was that just barely? Brother Feng only casually threw a punch and you were almost knocked down, okay? Also, don't flatter yourself. What do you mean by around your age? Brother Feng is at most 12 years old. He's older than third brother by 2 or 3 months. He's younger than you by 2 years. Don't you feel embarrassed? Just as she finished speaking, Dai Mubai, who was walking to the door, staggered and almost tripped. He turned around and looked at Wang Feng. His eyes were filled with shock. What the hell is this? You're telling me that this guy is only 12 years old? Dai Mubai looked at Wang Feng and swallowed his saliva. That guy called Tang San just now was already strong enough. At that age, he wasn't even at rank 29. Now this big brother of theirs, is he messing with me? Dai Mubai estimated that this brother Feng of these two should be at least at rank 40. Moreover, he has an extremely rare strength-type beast martial soul. That's why he could easily defeat my white tiger's Vajra transformation with one punch. Now you're telling me that he's only 12 years old? Let's go, Dai Mubai thought to himself. Shrek seems to have a lot of monsters this year. Seeing Dai Mubai quickly disappear through the door, Xiao Wu stomped her feet in anger. What, this guy? Xiao Wu curiously asked, but how did he know that we're coming to Shrek Academy? After saying that, Xiao Wu muttered a few words and pulled Tang San in front of Wang Feng. Brother Feng, why are you only here now? Xiao Wu giggled and said, Did you come early? Were you watching the show from the side? Yes, I did come early. Wang Feng nodded. I was watching Tang San and Dai Mubai fight. Of course he came. Tang San and Xiao Wu told him a few days ago that they would come to Soto City today. And he naturally saw the first battle between Tang San and Dai Mubai. However, he didn't interfere and only watched quietly. That Dai Mubai, could it be that he's from Shrek Academy? Tang San suddenly said. He's only 15 years old, but he's already a rank 37 soul elder. Moreover, his martial soul is one of the most powerful ones I've seen so far. I've rarely heard of such a powerful person in other intermediate academies. Wang Feng nodded. Xiao San was as smart as always. Brother Feng, did you become stronger again? Xiao Wu's eyes narrowed. Why don't Xiao San and I fight with you again? It's been a while since we last fought. Hearing this, before Wang Feng could open his mouth, Manager Wang of the nearby hotel hurried over. Looking at the messy main hall, He bitterly smiled and said, 3 Lord Soul Masters, can you let this small store go today? If they continue fighting like this, wouldn't the hotel be torn down? That's right, Xiao Wu, can you let them go? Wang Feng also laughed and said, you guys hurry up and go rest. Red Rose is a good place to stay. I also need to rest. After rushing here, I'm a bit tired. Let's go together tomorrow. In the past 5 years, the 3 of them had fought many times. Even when they returned to the Holy Soul Village, Wang Feng and Tang San really fought several times. Using brute force meant that Tang San used all the various hidden weapons he had made. Although it was very dangerous, he had still managed to use them quite a few times. Xiao Wu was a clever little girl. Sometimes, after being abused too much, she would drag Tang San along to be shameless. Wang Feng didn't want to fight anymore. Xiao Wu curled her lips and had to drag Tang San upstairs. Seeing this, Wang Feng shook his head and said to Manager Wang, who was next to him, I also booked a room here. The room number is pure white. Take me up. Hearing this, Manager Wang nodded. At this time, a woman suddenly appeared at the door. She walked in and looked around the hall. She frowned slightly, as if she was curious about what had happened here. Then, the girl walked to the front, looked at the price list on the counter, and said, Manager, do you still have a room? I want a room of pure white. The girl's voice was soft and beautiful, with a heroic spirit. She was wearing a long white dress, with short hair that reached her ears. Her figure was well proportioned, with the innocence of a young girl. Her skin was as white as snow, but there was a hidden pride between her eyebrows, which was difficult for ordinary people to notice. I'm sorry, the last room of pure white has been booked by this gentleman. Manager Wang saw that the girl's clothes were extraordinary, so he didn't dare to neglect her. He looked at Wang Feng. Booked. The girl in the white dress looked at Wang Feng. When she saw Wang Feng's appearance, her eyes lit up slightly. She said in a soft voice again, Then, my friend, can you give this room to me? Her voice was very soft. Her appearance was delicate, and her temperament was sweet and pure. Ordinary men would not have the heart to refuse her. Wang Feng sized up the girl a few times and said, That's right. I'm sorry, I don't have the habit of giving rooms to people. Do you want to choose another room? Being rejected, the girl in the white dress was stunned. She seemed to be a little surprised that she was rejected. She frowned and looked at the handsome young man. The good feelings in her heart made her suppress the discomfort of being rejected. She continued to say, How about this, I'll give you 50 gold soul coins and you'll give this room to me? That should be fine, right? This time, her voice was still soft, but there was a hint of pride in it. As she spoke, the girl took out a heavy bag from her pocket. When Wang Feng heard this, he couldn't help but be happy. He said, How about I give you 100 gold soul coins and you walk out of here? Chapter 61. Wang Feng took out a bag from his soul tool. It was also very heavy, and he waved it in front of the young lady. The girl's expression changed. After so many years, she was rejected the first time she went out. This made her feel extremely uncomfortable. Yet, he used the same method to make her unable to find an excuse. Are you a soul master? The girl took a deep breath and suppressed her rising and falling chest. You must be a soul master to be able to take out so many gold soul coins, right? The Martial Spirit Hall had subsidies for soul masters. Rank 21 soul masters received 10 gold soul coins every month. The subsidies from the Martial Spirit Hall were the source of income for many soul masters before they reached rank 40. The man in front of her seemed to be around 15 years old, and was probably around rank 20. He wasn't dressed extravagantly, but just nicely. The reason why he could take out such a large amount of soul coins was not because of his family background, but because of the subsidies from the Martial Spirit Hall. You don't have to use your 10 months of subsidies to fight with me. The girl furrowed her brows and suppressed the grievance in her heart. She said in a gentle voice, If you're a soul master, we can be friends. Right, I'm an auxiliary type soul master. Generally speaking, everyone wanted to be friends with auxiliary type soul masters. This was because most soul masters were very fond of healing soul tools or soul tools that could provide additional abilities. This was the reason why the famous Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect was so popular and could even attract titled Douluo to join. Furthermore, the girl was confident that with her appearance, even if she wasn't an auxiliary type soul master, as long as she was a boy, he would be willing to be friends with her. The girl also saw that this boy was very good-looking and suited her taste, which was why she said such a rare thing. If it was an ugly boy, she wouldn't even bother to look at him and would just turn around and leave. What a coincidence! Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. I'm also an auxiliary type soul master. I'll leave my room here. Can't you change to another room? He could roughly guess who this girl was. As the saying went, like repels like, but different kinds attract. The abilities of auxiliary type soul masters couldn't be given to one another. Otherwise, there would be dire consequences. You're a man. How can you be an auxiliary type soul master? The young girl was stunned. She looked at Wang Feng, unable to regain her senses for a long time. When Manager Wang heard this, he couldn't help but think to himself, what the F***ck are you doing? You beat young Master Dai up like that with just one punch, and you still have the face to say that you're an auxiliary type soul master? However, Manager Wang did not dare to say this out loud. You did it on purpose, didn't you? The girl looked at the smile on Wang Feng's face and said angrily, What's your name? As she spoke, the girl stared at Wang Feng seriously. My surname is Wu, Wang Feng said. My name is Xiaogua. Wu Xiaogua? The young girl frowned slightly, feeling that this name was extremely strange. However, she snorted and said, Wu Xiaogua, I'll remember you. After saying that, Wang Feng headed upstairs. Manager Wang couldn't hold it in any longer and laughed out loud. What are you laughing at? The girl asked. Ahem, I just think that this name is very funny. Manager Wang coughed a few times. He thought to himself, this girl is really naive. If you ask for someone else's name, and you don't say your name first, who will tell you? Which family's spoiled missy was she? The girl looked at Manager Wang with a strange expression and muttered this name a few times. Suddenly, as if she thought of something, the girl's face turned red. Her head seemed to be emitting steam. Her hands were tightly clasped together, and she was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Bastard! You dare to play with me! The girl was about to walk upstairs, but after thinking about it, she turned around and left. Very well. If you let me, Ning Rongrong, see you again, I'll teach you a lesson. You dare to offend me! I'm so angry! The girl fiercely stomped her feet on the spot and then looked at Manager Wang and said, Are there any rooms left? No. Miss, do you want to go to another hotel? Manager Wang frowned. Ning Rongrong glared at Manager Wang and turned around to leave. In the pure white room, Wang Feng stood at the window and looked at the girl who left and shook his head. What an unruly and arrogant Ning Rongrong. I didn't expect to meet her first. Wang Feng turned around and looked at the white room. He lay on the white bed. After resting for a while, Wang Feng took a shower and washed away the dust on his body. Not long after, he heard a knock on the door. When he opened the door, it was Tang San and Xiao Wu. Brother Feng, brother and I are going out for a walk. You should come with us. Soto City is so big. It's much bigger than Notting City. Xiao Wu was in high spirits. It was obvious that she forcefully dragged Tang San out. She was a little excited. Sure. I'll go with you. Wang Feng looked at the sunny weather outside and his heart skipped a beat. After the three of them finished discussing, they walked out of the hotel. Wang Feng felt quite comfortable bathed in the warm sunlight. The three of them strolled around. Not long after, Tang San stopped and looked at a shop in the distance. There was a special picture on the shop's signboard. There was a sword, a hammer, and a blue lightning tyrannosaurus. Xiao Wu, brother Feng, I'll go inside and take a look. Tang San looked at the shop and pondered for a moment before walking in. Isn't this the symbol on the martial spirit hall's token? I'll go and take a look too. Xiao Wu followed him in. Wang Feng didn't follow them in, because he knew that the owner of this shop should be the dean of Shrek Academy, Flender. After saying goodbye to the two of them, Wang Feng continued to stroll around Soto City. There were all kinds of shops, and it looked like a big city. Suddenly, as Wang Feng was strolling, he heard a delicate voice in front of him. Give me back my money. Do you know who I am? Are you trying to steal from me? If you don't give it back, I won't be polite. Hee little girl, I picked up this bag of gold soul coins from the ground. Do you think it's yours, just because you said it's yours? Do you think it'll answer if you call it? Wang Feng looked at a group of people in the distance. He couldn't help but feel happy. In the distance, a beautiful girl in a white dress was in front, looking at two men angrily. The two men had a mischievous smile on their faces, and there was a strong soul power fluctuation on their bodies. They looked abnormally majestic and burly. At this moment, they were holding several bags of gold soul coins in their hand. Isn't this Ning Rongrong? Wang Feng walked over and took a few glances. There were a few whispers around. This girl is really unlucky. How did she provoke these two rascals, Zhang Si and Wang Wu? These two are regulars in the Great Soul Arena. It seems that this girl accidentally dropped the money on the ground when she bought something just now. When she came back to her senses, it was picked up. I'm afraid she can't get it back. Zhang Si and Wang Wu are also two soul masters. How can they play rogue with a little girl? Listening to the discussions around him, Wang Feng looked into the distance with some amusement. Ning Rongrong, the eldest daughter, came out of the seven treasure glazed tile sect alone. She was very bad at dealing with people. She seemed to speak gently, but in fact she was very proud. Facing these rascals, she could only be teased. However, Wang Feng didn't intend to help. Ning Rongrong, the eldest daughter, came out alone. There must be people from the seven treasure glazed tile sect secretly following her nearby. It was impossible for anything to happen to her. With that, Wang Feng planned to turn around and leave. At this moment, a fragrant wind suddenly floated over, and a white figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Big brother, why are you here? The figure that suddenly appeared in front of him said in surprise. The person who came was Ning Rongrong. Wang Feng was stunned. At this moment, Ning Rongrong grabbed Wang Feng's shoulder, turned her head, and looked arrogantly at the two men. She said disdainfully, You bastards, you dare to steal my money? My big brother is here now. He's an auxiliary type soul master and is very powerful. In a while, he'll beat the two of you down. With that, Ning Rongrong raised her snow-white chin and looked coldly at the two men. Wang Feng, this little girl is really good. She's so vengeful, right? It was Ning Rongrong who saw Wang Feng from the corner of her eye. Taking advantage of the fact that Wang Feng hadn't turned around and left, she directly ran over. Ha ha ha, auxiliary type soul master? Little beauty, your big brother is an auxiliary type soul master, and he wants to beat us two soul masters to the ground? One of the men laughed. Do you believe that I can beat him to the ground with a few punches? His name was Wang Wu. He was 22 years old this year, a rank 23 soul master, and his martial soul was a mantis. The other was called Zhang Si. His brother was also 22 years old, a rank 24 soul master, and his martial soul was the flying tongue, a special plant. The two of them were known as the Flying Mantis Duo in the Great Soul Arena. I don't believe it. Ning Rongrong's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness, and she still said proudly, If you have the ability, beat my big brother to the ground. Wang Feng. There was a burst of laughter all around. Boy, you're her big brother, right? Come here, if you can beat one of us brothers today, I'll return the money to you. Wang Wu said with a smile, You're handsome, but I'm afraid your face will swell with one punch. Wang Feng looked at the two and said, I don't know her. If you want to beat her, just beat her. You don't even need a few punches, one punch will make her cry. With that, Wang Feng shook off Ning Rongrong's hand. Go away, don't touch me. I don't know you. Ning Rongrong. This bastard, you tricked me in the Rose Hotel, and now you want to get away? I'm going to drag you into this. I'll let you get beaten up later. Big brother, I promise I won't dare to disobey you in the future. Ning Rongrong pretended to be wronged and whispered, They bullied me, are you just going to watch? Chapter 62. Wang Feng's mouth slightly twitched. He thought, sure enough, the more beautiful a woman is, the more deceitful she is. Ning Rongrong, this girl, she knows that I'm an auxiliary-type soul master, and wants me to make a fool out of myself. But that was normal. Wang Feng remembered that in the original work, Ning Rongrong looked gentle and pleasant, but was actually unruly and willful. She was a proud and complacent rich young lady. After entering the Shrek Academy, she slowly improved. At the same time, in the dark, the two silhouettes were whispering to each other. Hiss, boss, when did our young lady recognize a big brother? This should be the first time she walked out of the Seven Treasure glazed tile sect, right? I don't know, the young lady is very smart, although she's usually proud. But from my experience, I'm afraid that the young lady has a grudge with the young lady. The young lady should be doing this deliberately. Then should we make a move? Why should we make a move? Since there's a grudge, he's the young lady's enemy. Let him be taught a lesson. We'll make a move later, you know, we can't easily expose ourselves. At this time, following Ning Rongrong's words, the surrounding people also pointed at them. Okay, then you guys come. Seeing this, Wang Feng grinned and walked a few steps forward, looking at the two of them. Since trouble came knocking on his door, how could he be afraid of trouble? Even if he couldn't get rid of it, he would face it head-on. This was his style. Ning Rongrong took a few steps back, a trace of craftiness flashed in her eyes. She secretly thought, who asked you to bully me at the Rose Hotel, now you deserve it. But thinking about it again, she couldn't just walk away when this bastard was beaten up. Anyway, seeing you get beaten up, this young lady's heart will feel good. At worst, I'll take this guy for treatment later, and we'll call it even. When had she, Ning Rongrong, ever been the one to suffer losses? As soon as Wang Feng's words came out, the surrounding people suddenly separated. Let's make it clear, we're exchanging pointers, not bullying the weak. Wang Wu said with a smile, You want these bags of gold soul coins, so you want to exchange pointers with us. Cut the crap. Hurry up and come. Wang Feng waved at the two of them and said, I'll stay where I am. If you can knock me down with one punch, I'll consider you capable. Good lad, you're really arrogant. Seeing this, Wang Wu smiled and immediately unleashed his martial spirit without hesitation. 2 soul rings, one white and one yellow, slowly rose from beneath his feet. A green praying mantis appeared above his head. Mantis possessed. Wang Wu shouted softly. His body began to change slowly. He then stomped on the ground, leaving a footprint on the ground as he threw a punch at Wang Feng. In an instant, the surrounding crowd dispersed once again. Some looked at Wang Wu's martial soul with envy. This was a true soul master. One had to know that soul masters only made up a small portion of the commoners. Ning Rongrong's expression changed when she saw this fist coming towards her. The bodies of auxiliary-type soul masters weren't strong, and the difference between them and assault-type soul masters was like the difference between heaven and earth. If this punch landed, that bastard would be injured, right? He only has himself to blame. Ning Rongrong turned her head away, not wanting to see this scene. Who asked this bastard to play with her? Bang! At this moment, a sound suddenly sounded. Ning Rongrong hurriedly turned her head to look, but was stunned. Wang Wu, who was unknowingly sent flying, was lying on the ground in the distance. His hands seemed to have gone soft and his whole body was trembling. What happened just now? Ning Rongrong's mind slowly emerged with a question mark. She looked around and saw that the surrounding crowd had their eyes wide open, as if they had seen something unbelievable. At this moment, Wang Feng stood where he was, patted his chest, and then walked towards the two of them. Two little brothers, what do you think? Wang Feng looked at the other Zhang Si. You don't come over. Zhang Si hurriedly took 2 steps back and looked at the handsome youth with some horror. Big brother Wang Wu's punch had landed squarely on the young man's chest. However, the scene they imagined didn't happen. The youth puffed out his chest. Big brother Wang Wu was like a bent spring, bouncing back. After a round, he was lying on the ground. It was extremely strange. However, as Zhang Si, who had lost 100 battles in the Great Soul Arena, was very experienced. This youth was obviously ridiculously strong, and he wasn't an auxiliary-type soul master. That little girl was tricking them. Money, here's the money. Zhang Si threw a few bags of gold soul coins to Wang Feng and left with Wang Wu trembling in fear. Seeing this, everyone also dispersed. They also thought in their hearts, this youth is not simple. He shouldn't be an auxiliary-type soul master. How can an auxiliary-type soul master have such a strong body? Wang Feng turned around and walked towards Ning Rongrong with a faint smile on his face. This smile made Ning Rongrong's hair stand on end. It gave her the feeling of a hunter patrolling and about to hunt a small animal. What do you want to do? Ning Rongrong took a few steps back, raised her head, and looked at Wang Feng without fear. The arrogance brought about by being pampered was not so easy to disappear. I don't want to do anything. Wang Feng tossed the gold soul coins in his hand and said with a smile, Thank you, I earned a few 100 gold soul coins for no reason. Ning Rongrong was stunned when she heard this, and hurriedly said, That's mine, give it back to me. Give it back to you? Wang Feng put away the gold soul coins and suddenly looked at Ning Rongrong a few times and couldn't help but laugh. Okay, didn't you call me big brother just now? Call me big brother a few times? I'll give it back to you. Wang Feng, was not a kind person. Ning Rongrong, this girl, deliberately made trouble for him just now. How could he not knock this girl down? You! Ning Rongrong's face turned red, and her eyes glared at Wang Feng angrily. Just now, she called him big brother just to pull this bastard into the water. It was just an act. She, the dignified young miss of the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, really had to call a strange man big brother? How could such an ambiguous address be possible? I see that you don't have any money on you right now, right? Wang Feng shrugged and said with a little regret, If you don't have the gold soul coins tonight, I'm afraid you'll have to sleep on the streets and accompany the beggars outside the city. Wang Feng laughed a few times and continued, I heard that the beggars outside the city don't even bathe for half a year. You can accompany them and eat food picked up from the garbage. It'll be a new experience, right? After he finished speaking, Wang Feng turned around and was about to leave. After hearing this, Ning Rongrong's delicate face became incomparably pale. She thought about how she had come out alone this time. The gold soul coins were in this bastard's hands. If he really didn't return them to her, wouldn't she really have to? Ning Rongrong felt that this scene was extremely terrifying just thinking about it. No, absolutely not. Wait. Ning Rongrong hurriedly took a few steps forward, and her face was red. Give me the gold soul coins and I'll shout. Wang Feng stopped in his tracks and looked at Ning Rongrong, as if he was watching her performance. Okay. Ning Rongrong opened her mouth, and an intense feeling of humiliation arose in her heart. She shouted the word okay for a long time, but didn't say anything else. The more Ning Rongrong thought about it, the more wronged she felt. Tears welled up in her eyes and she said, Okay. In the next moment, she really wanted to shout. At this moment, a bag of gold soul coins was suddenly thrown at her. This was followed by a lazy voice. Forget it, don't shout. You're a little young, and I'm not interested in you. I just want to teach you a lesson. Take your gold soul coins and crawl. After he finished speaking, Wang Feng turned around and left. Only Ning Rongrong was left standing on the spot in a daze. After a long time, Ning Rongrong burst out laughing. The tears at the corners of her eyes hadn't dried yet in the dark. The two people who were about to make a move stopped. "This kid is a little interesting, huh? He dares to bully our young lady like this. Boss, should we make a move?" "Don't." The sect master said that as long as there's no danger, it's good to let the young lady out to see the outside world. Chapter 63. That Bastard. Ning Rongrong watched as the figure disappeared from her sight. She laughed through her tears and muttered, "He told me to crawl, but he turned around and left. Humph, what a strange guy." But Ning Rongrong laughed a few more times. She wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and said, "That's quite interesting. He actually said that I'm young. You're only 2 or 3 years older than me." She thought that Wang Feng was referring to her age. As Ning Rongrong spoke, she recalled what happened today and couldn't help but laugh again. At this time, Ning Rongrong suddenly heard a couple arguing on the side of the road. "No, I don't want to break up. Tell me, what's wrong with me? I'll change, okay?" "You can't change. If you don't tell me, how do you know that I can't change?" "Okay, this is what you want to hear. Then I'll tell you. You're too young. I'm not interested in you. So let's break up." "I'm not young. You're only 2 or 3 years older than me. Aren't we just right? Come on, I'm not saying that you're young. I'm saying that I'm not interested in girls with small breasts. Can you change it? You can't change it. So let's break up." Who said that I can't change it?" You can't touch it more and it'll become bigger." Ning Rongrong looked at the couple. They were about 15 or 16 years old. The two of them were arguing until their faces were red. She seemed to understand something. In an instant, her fair face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Her head seemed to be steaming. Ning Rongrong stomped the ground fiercely. She was embarrassed and angry. "Bastard, bastard! Hooligan! How am I young? You're playing with me again." As she spoke, Ning Rongrong lowered her head and straightened her back. Only the tips of her feet could be seen. She couldn't help but say angrily, "I'm not young at all. I'm so angry. Bastard." Wang Feng hurriedly left. The reason why he suddenly stopped wasn't because he didn't want to hear her call him good brother. It was because Wang Feng felt 2 pairs of eyes lock onto him. If he wasn't mistaken, they were probably the bodyguards that were secretly protecting Ning Rongrong. The 7 treasure glazed tile sect has 2 soul Dalu. Forget it. Although I'm not afraid, it'll be troublesome if they target me. Wang Feng shook his head. Besides, all he wanted to do was teach Ning Rongrong a lesson. She wasn't old, so Wang Feng wasn't interested in her. Although she was indeed very beautiful, she was much better than many celebrities in his previous life. But it was of no use. When Wang Feng returned to the hotel, the sky had already darkened. At this moment, the hotel suddenly shook. Wang Feng looked at the room where Tang San was and seemed to recall something. Could it be that Tang San is tempering something? Let me think. In the original work, it seems that Little Three went to that shop during the day and got a stone. He used this stone to temper and obtain the Tang sect's inner hidden weapon, the Dragon Beard Needle. It can break the internal aura shield. In the Douluo world, it has a very terrifying effect on those soul warriors with extremely high defense. Thinking of this, Wang Feng couldn't help but feel a little surprised. In the past 5 years, Wang Feng had tried all the hidden weapons on Little Three. To be honest, as long as he had a certain speed, those hidden weapons and mechanisms of Little Three were nothing. However, this Dragon Beard Needle was one of the top 10 hidden weapons in the Xiantian treasure record. It was very powerful. I'll try it when I have time. I don't know if this Dragon Beard Needle can break my defense. Wang Feng pinched his chin and thought about going to the Shrek Academy tomorrow. He sat cross-legged on the bed and began his habitual meditation cultivation. The next day, early in the morning, Tang San and Xiao Wu came to wake Wang Feng up, and they went to the Shrek Academy together. After leaving Soto City and heading south, they could see a large field of golden farmland. It reminded Wang Feng of his previous life, when he was a child in the countryside in autumn. Master said that after going out of the south gate and walking along the pipeline, we will see the Shrek Academy. Tang San looked at the farmland in the distance, and felt a little relaxed and happy. I wonder what this Shrek Academy will be like? Why is it outside the city? Xiao Wu was a little curious. She picked up a rice that was about to ripen and mischievously poked at it. Because it's poor, Wang Feng said. It was indeed poor. In the original work, the Shrek Academy was outside because it was poor. No way, Xiao Wu said in surprise. Tang San also frowned. Why not? Wang Feng said with a smile. Otherwise, who would build an academy outside the city? But we will know when we get there. Wang Feng was also a little curious about the Shrek Academy. After all, he only read about it in novels and didn't see it with his own eyes. After walking for a while, Xiao Wu acted coquettishly and moved on to Tang San's back, wanting Tang San to carry her. When the three of them came into sight and a small village appeared, Xiao Wu jumped down. It should be there. Xiao Wu looked into the distance excitedly. But why does it look strange? The three of them walked toward the small village not far away. Before they got close, a long line stretched from the door to where the three of them were. It's really shabby. Wang Feng was speechless. He wanted to enter the Shrek Academy, so he had to join. At the door, there was a table with an old man sitting at it. He seemed to be checking the students who came to sign up. Behind the old man was the door. There was a plaque hanging on the door with a few crooked words engraved on it, Shrek Academy. There was also a picture next to it, which was the legendary Shrek monster. It looks like a slime, Wang Fengxin ridiculed in his mind. It had a humanoid head, green, and looked a little cute. Slimes were the trashiest monsters in many fantasy novels. As for this Shrek, Big Brother Feng, you really hit the nail on the head? Xiao Wu was speechless. It's so shabby. It's even worse than Nodding Academy. Is this really the Shrek Academy? Wang Feng. Of course. This is the Shrek Academy, the academy that claims to be a viscount of the empire after graduation. The mother of a child next to her seemed to have the same doubts as Xiao Wu. When Wang Feng heard this, he couldn't help but think that it was the same as in the novels. However, this promise was probably a gimmick to attract outsiders to the Shrek Academy. Otherwise, no one would come to the Shrek Academy. It had to be true. A place like the Shrek Academy is like the junior classes in my previous life. Wang Fengxin was moved. In his previous life, the junior classes gathered and trained the most intelligent children from all over the country who had special abilities and who could only be called F***ck in the mouth of ordinary people. Most of them had outstanding achievements when they grew up. However, there were very few junior classes in the modern world. They were the real geniuses. Now that I think about it, the Shrek Academy isn't much. In the junior classes in my previous life, I was playing with mud when I was 3 years old, I could solve the Pythagorean theorem when I was 7, I graduated from university when I was 10, I did a postdoc when I was 12. It's like being reborn. Wang Fengxin secretly ridiculed in his mind. He had learned a lot about this at that time. After understanding it, he deeply felt that the intelligence level of humans was raised by this kind of people. However, if I returned to the modern world, I would also be a genius, right? Wang Feng sighed. When he thought of these things, Wang Feng felt lonely. He quickly shook his head and shook these chaotic thoughts out of his mind. At this time, an uproar came from the front. I advise you people to properly inquire about our Shrek Academy before you come. Don't always come to our Shrek Academy to register just because you can get a viscount after graduation. This will only make you waste the registration fee. The old man stood up and looked at the long line behind him with an impatient expression. Shrek is a kind of monster. Among soul beasts, it is also a very strange monster. Therefore, we want to take in all of them. Ordinary soul masters with poor aptitudes, age under 12, and haven't reached rank 21, can directly leave. Don't waste our time and our own money. After the old man finished speaking, as if to show off his power, his body shook and 6 soul rings lit up under his feet. Chapter 64. A Soul Emperor. Sure enough, after hearing the old man's words, most of the people in the line were so scared that they left one after another. It also saved Wang Feng and the others a lot of time. After a while, "Excuse me, can I pass now?" Not long after, a soft female voice sounded. The moment the voice rang out, many people looked over. Wang Feng recognized the voice. He didn't need to look to know who the owner of the voice was. "Brother, is this girl very beautiful?" Xiao Wu exclaimed in surprise. Tang San also nodded and said, "Yes, she's very beautiful. She's not worse than you, Xiao Wu." He was telling the truth. The girl was indeed very beautiful, so he agreed with Xiao Wu. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Wu's face changed. She stepped on Tang San's foot and snorted. "Xiao San doesn't have a strong desire to live." Wang Feng smiled. Xiao San, who had transmigrated from ancient times, had never been in a relationship, and had not been influenced by modern culture. His understanding of girls was almost zero. In modern times, he would be a real straight man made of concrete. Any modern person would be able to make Xiao Wu happy with this kind of question. Tang San looked at Xiao Wu blankly. He was telling the truth and agreed with Xiao Wu. Why was she angry? "Xiao San, come here. I'll teach you a few moves," Wang Feng said in a low voice. Although he was also an otaku in his previous life, he was also a max-level fire magician. But he had seen a lot of internet jokes. It was a piece of cake for him to deal with this kind of girl. Tang San hesitated for a moment and walked over. Wang Feng whispered in Tang San's ear, "If Xiao Wu asks again later, you can say this." Tang San listened in a daze. After a while, Xiao Wu suddenly looked back. She tugged at Tang San and said, "Brother San, there are so many beautiful girls. There's another one behind us." Behind them, a girl with a cold expression but looked a little younger than Xiao Wu was standing indifferently. Her skin was very fair, and her facial features were very delicate. She had a standard child's face, and only her chest was extremely big. It was probably much more spectacular than many mature girls in their late teens. It gave people an extremely shocking feeling. Wang Feng casually glanced at it and then calmly retracted his gaze. He thought to himself, "This is too big. It's completely against the rules. See no evil, see no evil." Wang Feng calmed himself down and stopped looking. If he was not mistaken, this woman should be Zhu Zhuqing. Tang San, on the other hand, followed Big Brother Feng's answer and looked behind him. Then, he turned around and looked at Xiao Wu blankly. "What beautiful girl! Where is it? Can't you see it?" Xiao Wu was surprised. "It's right behind us. But I only saw one beautiful girl, Xiao Wu." "I didn't see any other beautiful girls," Tang San said blankly. In any case, these were all lines that Big Brother Feng had taught him. Tang San could recite them back and forth. He felt that he could say them without any hindrance. Xiao Wu's face suddenly turned red. She glared at Tang San and then stepped on Tang San's foot. She said angrily, "Brother, what are you talking about?" Tang San looked at Big Brother Feng in confusion. Didn't Big Brother Feng say that Xiao Wu would be happy? Why didn't it seem like she had changed? Sigh. Rotten wood can't be carved. Wang Feng shook his head. Little San's brain was so blunt. It was really difficult for Xiao Wu. "You guys, do you want to sign up?" At this time, the old man in front of them pulled them back from their thoughts. "Let's do it together." Tang San and Xiao Wu walked up and paid the registration fee. They showed their martial souls one after another. The old man even felt Tang San's muscles and bones. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect you to be able to cultivate blue-silver grass so quickly. Your muscles and bones are developing very well. You must be exercising a lot, right? The old man looked at the two with a smile. Tang San nodded and said with a smile, "Teacher, are we monsters?" "Yes, yes." The old man nodded and waved at Dai Mubai in the distance. "Mubai, come here. Bring them in." Dai Mubai walked over. He first looked at Tang San and smiled politely. Then he looked around. "What are you looking at?" Xiao Wu was furious. "Why are you being so sneaky? Are you thinking of something bad again?" Dai Mubai coughed a few times and whispered, "Well, is he here?" "Him? You mean Big Brother Feng?" Xiao Wu was stunned and couldn't help but laugh. "What, you big sick tiger, are you afraid of Big Brother Feng?" Cough, cough. "How can I be afraid of Soul Masters? I'm just very curious." Dai Mubai seemed to be a little traumatized. After all, it didn't feel good to be sent flying by a punch. "Who are you talking about?" The white-clothed girl next to Dai Mubai asked curiously. Dai Mubai was a rank 37 soul elder. Just now, someone wanted to ask for the registration fee back, but he scared them away. He should be very strong. How could he be afraid of others? Curious? Xiao Wu laughed and pointed in front. "Isn't he right there? Don't worry, if you dare to bully me and third brother in the academy, we'll let Big Brother Feng send you flying with a punch." Dai Mubai looked in front and saw the figure that appeared in his nightmare last night. Ning Rongrong also looked over and was stunned by what she saw. Wang Feng didn't know that there was a white-clothed girl at the entrance. She narrowed her eyes and looked at him with a complicated expression. There was surprise, shame, and anger, but they were all replaced by calmness. "It's him." Ning Rongrong clenched her hands. Why did he come to Shrek Academy? Didn't he have to be under 12 years old? Is he the Big Brother Feng you were talking about? He seems to be about the same age as the one next to me? Ning Rongrong looked at Dai Mubai. Big Brother Feng has a special constitution. He grows very fast. He's only 12 years old, 1 or 2 months older than me, Tang San replied. Oh. Ning Rongrong was surprised. She was a little surprised and angry. This guy is only a little older than me. Does he have enough soul power? Ning Rongrong asked curiously. Dai Mubai also seemed to be interested. He looked at Tang San and Xiao Wu. Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at each other and shook their heads. We don't know. We don't know Big Brother Feng's soul power rank. It shouldn't be too much lower than ours. The three of them had fought many times in the past 5 years, but Tang San and Xiao Wu rarely made Wang Feng use his soul power. Even if he did, it was only a small portion. You don't know? Dai Mubai choked. Isn't he your big brother? Forget it. I want to see what rank this kid's soul power is. In the distance, the old man looked at Wang Feng and asked doubtfully, Young man, you look more than 12 years old, right? The young man in front of him was as tall as Dai Mubai. He looked to be at least 15 years old. I developed well. I just turned 12 years old this year, Wang Feng said. Wang Feng pondered. Zhu Zhuqing behind him didn't look like she was 12 years old. All right. Give me your hand. The old man waved his hand. Wang Feng walked over and stretched out his hand. The old man squeezed it slightly. His expression changed slightly. Your muscles and bones are a little strange. I can't tell, the old man frowned. He seemed to feel something that he couldn't judge. He walked in front of Wang Feng and touched his calves and arms like he did with Tang San. The more he touched, the more shocked the old man was. This kid's muscles and bones are like fine iron. Are they fake? His muscles are also very solid. Can they be developed? Forget it. Show me your martial soul first. The old man was a little puzzled, but he continued. Wang Feng hesitated for a moment. He stretched out his hand and a green lotus appeared in the center of his palm. I don't think I've seen your martial soul before. The old man stared at the green lotus in a daze. On the other hand, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes lit up when she saw the green lotus. She felt that the green lotus was very beautiful. What a beautiful flower! Ning Rongrong was also surprised. It's also my first time seeing this martial soul. Brother Feng's martial soul is very powerful. It's not just beautiful. Xiao Wu laughed. Dai Mubai also looked at it. He seemed to be thinking about this martial soul. At this time, Wang Feng said, I call it Green Lotus. Where are your soul rings? I can't judge your rank without soul rings. You're a little special. Show me 2 soul rings, regardless of their age, and I'll consider you a pass. The old man looked at the green lotus and picked up the cup on the table. He seemed to feel a little thirsty and was about to drink it. 2. Wang Feng thought for a moment. But teacher, can you not drink the water first? What? Are you afraid I'll spit it out? The old man smiled. Don't worry. I've lived for dozens of years. I've seen all kinds of little monsters. You want to shock me? Show me your soul rings quickly. Let me see. After saying that, the old man picked up the cup and drank it in one gulp. At this time, Wang Feng's soul power slightly moved. 2 soul rings slowly lit up under Wang Feng's feet. The moment they appeared, the air seemed to tremble. 1 purple and 1 black. Puff, puff, puff. Chapter 65. Purple, 1,000-year soul ring. Black, 10,000-year soul ring. As the 2 soul rings rose from Wang Feng's feet, the surroundings became abnormally quiet. The remaining people present all had different expressions on their faces. First of all, the old man spat out the water in his mouth and turned it into a mist in the air. His pair of turbid eyes looked at Wang Feng with shock. It was as if a modern person had seen a real monster. As for the rest of the people, Zhu Zhuqing, who was watching calmly from behind, was also looking at Wang Feng in astonishment. Tang San and Xiao Wu, who were at the entrance of the village, watched from afar with their eyes wide open. Ning Rongrong was also shocked. Her mouth was slightly open, and her eyes were filled with disbelief. As the proud daughter of the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, she had never seen a soul ring that was 1,000-year or even a 10,000-year soul ring. This bastard is too powerful. 10,000-year soul ring? Dai Mubai felt his brain short-circuit. Wait, he only has 2 soul rings. The first is a 1,000-year soul ring, and the second is a 10,000-year soul ring? How did he do it? This short circuit was completely out of his knowledge. Dai Mubai had never seen a 1,000-year soul ring for the first time. Normally, a 100-year soul ring was very rare, and there were differences in their age. Let alone a 1,000-year soul ring, Dai Mubai had never even seen a 500-year soul ring. His second soul ring was a 10,000-year soul ring. It was too much. A 10,000-year soul ring. At least his 5th soul ring can absorb a 10,000-year soul ring, right? Dai Mubai looked at Wang Feng with deep shock in his eyes. As a student of Shrek Academy, Dai Mubai knew that the absorption of soul rings was inextricably linked to one's physical fitness and martial soul. But no matter how strong one's physical fitness was, there was a limit to how much soul rings could be absorbed, unless one surpassed the limits of one's body. However, thinking back to yesterday's punch, Dai Mubai could faintly understand Brother Feng's second soul ring is actually a 10,000-year soul ring, Tang San whispered. Xiao Wu nodded. Both of them knew that his first soul ring was a 1,000-year one. Furthermore, because his first soul ring was a 6,000-year soul ring, his teacher had also said that it would be very difficult for Big Brother Feng to control this 6,000-year soul ring. His body would slowly be unable to withstand this 6,000-year soul ring and gradually decline. In fact, not only had Big Brother Feng not declined, he had become even stronger. Even his second soul ring was a 10,000-year soul ring. It was too terrifying. Tang San remembered what his teacher had said. Big Brother Feng's existence was beyond his knowledge. He was afraid that he could no longer be judged by common sense. I say, teacher. Wang Feng withdrew his soul ring, looked at the old man, and said with a smile, I passed, right? I told you not to drink water first. The elder was speechless. He looked at Wang Feng seriously for a long time and wiped his face. Then, he shook his head and sighed. There are really more and more monsters. You have passed. Mu Bai, bring him in with you. Wang Feng walked towards the door. As soon as he saw Ning Rongrong, his footsteps paused, but he didn't stop. Dai Mu Bai subconsciously took 2 steps back. He coughed a few times and said, That, you guys follow me first. There are still a few more tests. Perhaps it was because the trauma from that punch was too great, especially now that he knew that Huoyu Hao had 2 soul rings, the trauma in his heart grew even greater. Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Dai Mu Bai were very curious about the soul rings, but they knew that it wasn't the right time to ask. So your name is Wang Feng? The white-clothed girl stared at Wang Feng. Her tone was very gentle, and there was a gentle smile on her fair and delicate face. This smile made Tang San and Dai Mu Bai feel very comfortable. Even Xiao Wu felt that this girl was very approachable. Only Wang Feng knew that Ning Rongrong wasn't as simple as she seemed. Hello, I am Wang Feng. Wang Feng acted as if he had never seen Ning Rongrong before, and said with a straight face. Ning Rongrong's expression froze. She clenched her fists slightly, turned around, and said in a low voice, I'll go in first. After saying that, Ning Rongrong walked in first. Then I'll bring you guys in too. This village isn't complicated. Once you enter, you'll see the place for the second test and the teacher. Dai Mu Bai hesitated for a bit before saying, I have to go back later. There seems to be an acquaintance outside. An acquaintance? You're not planning something bad, are you? Xiao Wu looked at Dai Mu Bai with vigilance. I remember there was a very beautiful girl behind. Dai Mu Bai frowned. What bad idea? Am I Dai Mu Bai, that kind of person? It's just that this person's aura is somewhat similar to mine, and it has an aura that complements my martial soul. This kind of martial soul is extremely rare, because if we can cultivate a tacit understanding and join forces, we can use some very powerful martial soul fusion skills. Tang San and Xiao Wu had both heard of martial soul fusion skills before. Wang Feng's heart was moved. Tang San and Xiao Wu's martial souls were indeed quite compatible. A rabbit eats grass. If they had a martial soul like the carrot, wouldn't they be even more compatible? Dai Mu Bai brought the 3 of them to the entrance of the village. He pointed at a place where some people were gathered. That's the place. Alright, I won't talk to you guys anymore. I'm going out for a bit. After saying that, Dai Mu Bai hurried back to the entrance. This place is really simple. Xiao Wu looked around. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in front of them. Selling sausages, selling sausages. Big, long, delicious sausages that can be used and eaten. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Oscar brand sausages are delicious and sweet. You can enjoy a peerless delicacy for only 5 copper coins. Wang Feng looked at a man with short hair and a face full of sideburns. He was dressed in gray clothes, and he was pushing a cart over. That cart gave Wang Feng a sense of déjà vu of those small street vendors in his previous life. He remembered that when he was in primary school, there were many small street vendors selling all kinds of fried food in front of the school gate. The one that left the deepest impression on him was the wolf-tooth potato. Moreover, this kind of small street vendor's cart had accompanied Wang Feng through junior high school, and even university. It had always been there, its vitality was incomparably tenacious. This is Oscar, right? Wang Feng looked at the cart and the bearded man in the distance. Third brother, I want it. It smells good. I'll go line up. Help me buy it. Xiao Wu took a few glances and felt a burst of joy. Tang San nodded. I also think it's delicious. Wang Feng smiled and walked over with Tang San. At this moment, A figure suddenly walked out of the line in front of them and took the lead to walk to Oscar's cart. Then, she bought 3 sausages and walked in front of Wang Feng. "I'll treat you guys." This figure was Ning Rongrong. She smiled and held the 3 sausages in her hand, but she held them far away. "Treat us?" Tang San was stunned. He thought to himself, this girl is quite nice. It's the first time we meet, and she's treating us to food. That's not very nice, is it? Tang San said politely. There's no need to be so polite. Ning Rongrong waved her hand gently and looked at Wang Feng with a smile in her eyes. Speaking of which, I still owe your friend a favor. He might not have told you, but yesterday on the street, he helped me snatch back a few hundred gold soul coins that I accidentally dropped. I have to thank him properly. But he didn't leave his name. I only just found out. Ning Rongrong's tone towards the end of her sentence was strange. It was as if she was gnashing her teeth. Brother Feng, is that true? Chapter 66. Wang Feng glanced at Ning Rongrong. This girl had good intentions, but she must have heard about the strangeness of Oscar's sausage and did this on purpose. Otherwise, why would she only buy 3 sausages and not 1 for herself? After all, there were some people in the second test who might have bought Oscar's sausage as well. Yes, Wang Feng replied. Then we'll be basking in your glory. Tang San smiled as he took the 3 sausages that Ning Rongrong bought and handed one to Wang Feng. Wang Feng looked at the sausage. The sausage looked very similar to the hot dogs and sausages from his previous world. The sausage was sliced to add flavor and looked very delicious. However, Wang Feng knew that it was made with soul power. To be honest, he didn't care about Oscar's strange incantation at all. Delicacies were supreme, so he didn't care where they came from. Just as Wang Feng was about to eat the sausage, a sly look flashed across Ning Rongrong's eyes. Bastard. If you find out where the sausage came from after you eat it, you'll vomit, right? Ning Rongrong thought to herself. She had already learned the secret of the sausage from a few other candidates who had eaten it. Although she felt disgusted, she did this because of her disgust. However, at this moment, Dai Mubai suddenly rushed over from afar and shouted, "Wait! You can't eat it!" Dai Mubai hurried over and said to Oscar in a deep voice, "Xiao Xiao, little Xiao Xiao. How many times have I told you not to sell sausages in school? Don't you know that? Do you want everyone to vomit later?" Oscar, who was not far away, walked over with a bitter smile. Is this uncle also a student of the academy? Tang San found it unbelievable. This uncle with a face full of sideburns was also a student? What uncle? Xiao Xiao is only 2 years older than you. Dai Mubai shook his head and said, "It's just that his martial soul is a rare food-type martial soul and he's naturally very hairy, that's why he looks like this." Then, is there a problem with the sausage? Why can't we eat it? Tang San asked curiously. Ning Rongrong, who was standing at the side, had a bad feeling. If this Dai Mubai had come any later, Wang Feng would have eaten that bastard. You can't eat that. Dai Mubai looked at Ning Rongrong and said, "Xiao Ao, get me a new grilled sausage." Boss Dai, this isn't appropriate, right? Our future juniors are watching. Oscar looked embarrassed. Especially this beautiful junior in a white dress. If she saw how he did it, it would be difficult for him to talk to her in the future. He even gave her a 30% discount just now. Hurry up. The 3 of them will definitely be students of our school in the future. Do you still want to hide it? Dai Mubai raised his fist. Don't make me do it myself. Seeing this, Oscar could only laugh bitterly a few times. Then, he used his soft and somewhat wretched voice to call out, "This daddy has a big sausage." After shouting, Oscar opened his hands and 2 yellow soul rings rose from his feet. Soul power condensed in his palms and the sausage-like martial soul slowly turned into a real sausage. This strange and ambiguous incantation immediately caused Tang San and Ning Rongrong's expressions to change drastically. Although Ning Rongrong heard about the strangeness of this sausage, she still felt nauseous after hearing it with her own ears. Tang San felt the same. Moreover, this was for Xiao Wu. He felt that the sausage in his hand was a little hot. He hurriedly handed it back to Ning Rongrong and said, "This, I appreciate your kindness." The ice-cold girl behind Dai Mubai also frowned and shook her head. Wang Feng, on the other hand, found it quite interesting and watched with relish. Sigh. Oscar sighed. Ning Rongrong took the sausage with an ugly expression. She knew that Wang Feng would definitely not eat it, so she could only hand the sausage back to Oscar. Don't. At this moment, Wang Feng took the sausage from Ning Rongrong's hand and said with a smile, "No matter what, it's still a gift from you." Ning Rongrong was stunned. At this moment, Wang Feng walked over and said to Oscar, "Do you have seasoning? Do you want to eat it?" Oscar was startled. "Of course, these 3 sausages are a gift from her," Wang Feng said with a smile. "Moreover, food is not guilty." Hearing this, Oscar was touched. Good food is not guilty. Yes, I have all kinds of seasoning here. Little Junior, if you want to eat it in the future, I'll give you a 50% discount. This sentence directly touched Oscar's heart. "Give me the seasoning, I'll mix it myself." Wang Feng walked over to Oscar's cart and looked at it. He was quite happy. Although it was not as good as the barbecue stalls in his previous life, there were still many seasonings on Oscar's cart. There were pepper, cumin, spicy powder, and some sauces. Wang Feng sprinkled the seasoning on the 3 sausages. He sniffed. "Smells so good." Wang Feng's appetite was aroused. Under everyone's gaze, he ate 1 sausage. After eating, there was still a lingering aftertaste. He missed the feeling of eating ham and hot dogs in his previous life. Tang San, Ning Rongrong, and Dai Mubai all swallowed their saliva. It was definitely not because they were hungry, but because, amazing. Dai Mubai muttered. This was the first time he saw someone who could eat Oscar's sausages in 1 bite without batting an eyelid. He even ate 3 sausages in a row. Too amazing! He could never do it himself. Big Brother Feng is still the best. Are these sausages really that good? Big Brother Feng is very particular about food. Why would he eat this kind of thing? Tang San muttered. When Ning Rongrong heard this, she suddenly felt guilty. She clearly wanted to prank him, but he didn't care at all. He even ate 3 sausages in 1 bite because of her feelings. He must be vomiting right now, right? When she thought of this, Ning Rongrong lowered her head. For the first time in her life, she felt a little ashamed. "Why are you looking at me?" Wang Feng didn't know Ning Rongrong was teaching herself a lesson. He looked at them and said, "It's really delicious. Also, you must add more of this seasoning." Tang San shook his head repeatedly, but he was a little tempted. "Oh right, give me another sausage." Wang Feng suddenly said to Oscar. "You want more? That's great." Oscar was even more moved. Usually, no one wanted to eat his sausages. But they could be used and eaten. Now, someone actually likes my sausages. Oscar quickly made 2 more sausages and handed them to Wang Feng. Wang Feng sprinkled the seasoning but didn't eat it. Instead, he walked in front of Ning Rongrong and said with a smile, "As the saying goes, courtesy demands reciprocity. I'll also treat you to a sausage. You won't refuse, right? Here, please." As he spoke, Wang Feng handed the sausage in his hand to Ning Rongrong. This Ning Rongrong wasn't that simple. She probably already found out about the secret of the sausage and deliberately invited him to eat it. She wanted to tell him after eating it so that he would vomit. However, Ning Rongrong didn't expect that he didn't mind the sausage at all. He wasn't a delicate person. Wang Feng was now giving him a taste of his own medicine. In an instant, many pairs of eyes looked at Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong was a little flustered and took 2 steps back. What kind of joke was this? He wanted her to eat this? This was worse than killing her. I don't want to eat it. Thank you. Ning Rongrong forced a smile and said, "No, you want to eat it." Wang Feng walked a few steps closer to Ning Rongrong. "This is my sincerity." Ning Rongrong shook her head and took a few steps back. She firmly said, "No, no. Even if I, Ning Rongrong, starve to death and leave the school, I won't eat this." Wang Feng stared at Ning Rongrong. His pitch-black eyes were like a deep pool of water, causing people to be intoxicated. Ning Rongrong was immediately stunned. Wang Feng's gaze caused her heartbeat to inexplicably speed up. "You're actually quite big," Wang Feng suddenly said. "Ah." Ning Rongrong opened her mouth and looked at Wang Feng blankly. At this time, Wang Feng quickly put the sausage into Ning Rongrong's cherry mouth. Chapter 67. The air froze. Several pairs of eyes stared at the white-clothed girl. Their eyes were wide open. Wang Feng's speed was too fast. How could Ning Rongrong react in time? Not to mention Ning Rongrong, even Dai Mubai and Tang San couldn't react in time. The grilled sausage was already in Ning Rongrong's mouth. Anger, disgust, and all kinds of emotions poured into Ning Rongrong's mind through the grilled sausage in her mouth. "You!" Ning Rongrong glared at Wang Feng. She didn't expect this bastard to use such a dirty trick. He even praised her for being beautiful. Her heart was beating faster for no reason. She thought he and the others could understand her feelings. After all, no one wanted to eat the grilled sausage. Not to mention it was forced. "Brother Feng, you're too much." Tang San coughed a few times. Dai Mubai also coughed a few times. "Wang Feng, why do you have to force her? Although this is your intention, there's no need to bicker with a girl." However, he looked at Wang Feng with envy. To be honest, he also wanted to play like this, but he didn't dare to. Zhu Zhuqing, who was behind Dai Mubai, also looked at Wang Feng with a frown. However, at this moment they suddenly heard chewing sounds. They looked over and saw Ning Rongrong gently chewing the grilled sausage. As if she felt everyone's gaze, Ning Rongrong blushed. She chewed in a ladylike manner and whispered, "It seems to be quite fragrant." She didn't know why it was so fragrant, numbing and spicy even though she was disgusted. There was also a hint of sweetness. Everyone. Wang Feng also looked at Ning Rongrong in astonishment. He thought this girl would spit it out. He didn't expect, could it be that she was faking it? Wang Feng looked at Ning Rongrong strangely. It seems that people from the Douluo continent can't escape the law of fragrances. After Ning Rongrong finished eating, she gracefully took out a handkerchief and wiped the corners of her mouth. "Thank you. I didn't expect this grilled sausage to be so delicious." He looked at Ning Rongrong and answered sincerely. Wang Feng was also a little confused. Could it be that this young miss had adapted so quickly? Or was it that she was forcing herself to not embarrass herself? Or perhaps, like me, he really likes to eat? "You're welcome. You're welcome." Wang Feng smiled. "Let's eat grilled sausages together next time." Ning Rongrong nodded lightly and said, "I'll remember what you said. Let's eat together next time." Wang Feng looked at Ning Rongrong's serious expression and wondered, what the hell? I was just being polite. Did you take it seriously? Just then, Xiao Wu ran over and tilted her head. "What are you talking about? Brother, where's my sausage?" Tang San was a little embarrassed, so he told her about the Oscars. "You stinky men, why do you have such a vulgar incantation?" After listening, Xiao Wu blushed and cursed in a low voice. "I'm not eating anymore." Seeing this, Wang Feng thought to himself, this seems to be a normal reaction. "Alright, Tang San, Xiao Wu, I'll take you directly to the last test." Dai Mubai clapped his hands and refocused their attention. "Go directly to the last test? Is that appropriate?" Tang San saw that there were still quite a few examinees lined up. "Don't worry." Dai Mubai walked over to the teacher of the second test and muttered a few words. The teacher smiled and said, "No problem. With these 2 examinees this year, it's worth it. You can take them directly to the fourth test. Hearing this, Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at each other, not understanding the reason. Teacher, why can they go directly to the fourth test, but we have to take the tests one by one? A boy said with dissatisfaction. Is your Shrek Academy treating us differently? The teacher smiled faintly and said, it's really a difference in treatment. If your soul power is above rank 25, you can also go directly to the last test without taking the tests one by one. But is your soul power above rank 25? Reaching rank 21 at the age of 12 was already considered a true genius in many elementary Soul Master academies. Rank 25? The boy suddenly stopped talking, but he still looked at Tang San and the others suspiciously. I don't believe it. I've never seen a 12-year-old Soul Master reach rank 25. Naturally, he didn't believe it. Wang Feng shook his head. This was just like those 10-year-old children in the news who could go to college. Without seeing it with their own eyes, no one would believe it. Even if it appeared in all kinds of news, many people would still doubt it. To put it simply, if they had never seen it before, it was beyond their imagination, and it was common sense, they would directly deny it and not believe it. This was also the origin of many trolls. A 12-year-old Soul Master at the age of 25 was roughly equivalent to a 10-year-old child going to college. To other Soul Masters, it would be very inconceivable. In addition, they were children with outstanding talent who were usually sought after and praised by others. At this moment, they naturally felt unbalanced and found it hard to believe the truth. You don't believe it? Dai Mubai sneered, took out a white crystal ball, and said, Tang San, Xiao Wu, you two show us your soul power. This testing crystal was specially used to test soul power below rank 30. If it exceeded rank 30, it would explode. And this second test was naturally used to test specific soul power. Tang San nodded, walked over, and injected his mysterious heaven technique inner strength. In a split second, the white light shone brightly. It was like a dazzling brick, shining brightly. Seeing this scene, the boy was stunned. This light was clearly a sign that he was about to reach rank 30. In other words, this person was at least rank 29. Rank 29 at the age of 12. The teacher in charge of the test was also surprised and amazed. Then, Xiao Wu stepped forward and injected her soul power with a smile, as if she especially liked this scene. The bright light continued to shine. Another rank 29. The boy was so scared that he took a few steps back. If that's the case, it seems that I can go straight to the final test. Ning Rongrong smiled, walked over, and took the crystal ball. A clear light appeared. Although it was not as bright as Tang San and Xiao Wu, it was definitely not low. It was at least rank 26. Wang Feng, do you want? Ning Rongrong was about to pass the crystal ball to Wang Feng. Suddenly, a figure flashed, and the crystal ball in her hand disappeared. This figure was the aloof young girl following behind Dai Mubai. Ning Rongrong took a look and realized that this cold girl's soul power seemed to be one rank higher than hers, and the light was brighter. Looks like there are more and more monsters in Shrek this year. The teacher sighed, his eyes filled with surprise and joy. The four of you can directly go to the last test. Go. At this moment, Dai Mubai hurriedly said, Wait, Wang Feng, do you want to take the test? After speaking, Dai Mubai paused. He was actually very curious. What was the rank of a guy whose first and second soul rings were 1,000 and 10,000-year soul rings? When a soul master absorbed a soul ring to break through to the next realm, their rank would increase according to the age of the soul ring. When Dai Mubai's third 1,000-year soul ring broke through, he went from rank 30 to rank 33. Dai Mubai could not imagine what rank a rank 20 soul master would reach after absorbing a 10,000-year soul ring. Would he directly jump to rank 30? After hearing Dai Mubai's words, Tang San, Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong, and Zhu Zhuqing all looked at Wang Feng. Zhu Zhuqing walked over and handed the crystal ball to Wang Feng. How about I don't take the test? Wang Feng smiled. You've all seen my soul rings. They're definitely above rank 25. Brother Feng, just take the test. Xiao Wu blinked. Yeah, Brother Feng, let's go through the procedure. Tang San agreed. The examiner looked at Wang Feng with interest. Kid, don't worry. You won't lose any soul power after taking the test. Furthermore, this crystal ball can withstand soul power below rank 30, including rank 30. At this point, the examiner looked at Wang Feng with a strange expression. Don't tell me your soul power is above rank 30? Are you worried that this crystal ball will explode? The examiner's words seemed to be what Tang San, Dai Mubai, and the others were thinking. They all looked at Wang Feng. My soul power isn't above rank 30. Wang Feng shook his head. Hearing this, the others inexplicably heaved a sigh of relief. If it really was above rank 30, it would be too exaggerated. A 12-year-old soul elder? What a joke. However, Wang Feng smiled and said, although my soul power isn't above rank 30, this white crystal ball will still explode. Why don't you change to another one? His soul power wasn't something that could be measured by a normal crystal ball. Hearing this, the examiner was stunned. He couldn't help but laugh. Kid, don't joke with me. Do you think I don't have common sense? I've tested thousands of students over the years, but I've never seen anyone below rank 30 who can make a white crystal ball explode. He had never seen it before. Tang San and the others had never seen it before. All right then. Wang Feng didn't hesitate. He directly poured his soul power into the white crystal ball. Almost in an instant, crack, 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 a crisp, cracking sound rang out. Chapter 68. The crisp, cracking sound stimulated everyone's eardrums. Boom! In the next moment, the crystal ball suddenly shattered and turned into a pile of white crystal particles. When everyone saw this scene, they were all so shocked that they were speechless. Even the testing teacher looked at it with a dumbfounded face. I told you. Wang Feng shook his head and said helplessly, it will really explode. His soul power indeed did not exceed rank 30 and should be at the threshold of rank 30. However, this white crystal ball could not withstand his soul power. The reason was simple. For example, a cubic glass jar could withstand a cubic meter of cotton, but it could not withstand a cubic meter of steel. The quality of his soul power was too high. Although the total amount did not change, this crystal ball could not withstand the quality of his soul power. How could this be? You really did not exceed rank 30? The testing teacher looked at the shattered crystal ball. Indeed, the light emitted by the crystal ball was similar to that of the child named Tang San. This meant that his soul power level should be a little higher than Tang San's, maybe just reaching rank 30. But why did the crystal ball shatter? The teacher could not understand, and this scene was beyond his imagination. It was the first time he had seen such a situation in so many years. As the testing teacher, he could not understand, and the others were even more dumbfounded. Could this have something to do with the quality of my soul power? Tang San thought in his heart. His soul power was actually the mysterious heaven skill. Compared to the soul power of ordinary soul masters, it was slightly special. It was the internal strength cultivated by the Xianmen orthodox cultivation method. In essence, soul power was also a kind of internal strength. If the quality of the soul power was too high, the crystal ball might not be able to withstand it. Compared to Tang San, the others were shocked and puzzled when they saw this. Too strong, this bastard. Ning Rongrong felt a little strange. She was a little jealous and unwilling. We are both auxiliary-type soul masters. I am a genius of the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, but I am 4 ranks lower than him. Moreover, he can even shatter this crystal ball. But my auxiliary ability is the strongest. The strength of a rank 4 soul power does not mean anything, Ning Rongrong thought. I can't let you, Wang Feng, look down on me later. I'm afraid only the dean can explain this, right? Dai Mubai looked at Wang Feng and thought to himself, this year's monsters were getting stronger and stronger. Let's not talk about breaking the crystal ball for now. Wang Feng's soul power level was higher than Tang San's. He should be around rank 30. After Wang Feng used his soul power to break the crystal ball, not to mention the other candidates, even Tang San, Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong, and the others were completely speechless. Mubai, take the 5 of them to the 4th test. The teacher waved his hand again. Dai Mubai nodded and glanced at the shattered crystal on the ground. Then, he led Wang Feng and the other 4 into the academy. On the way, Dai Mubai explained to the 5 of them. Generally, there are 4 tests for the academy's enrollment. You've already seen the first few. The 3rd test tests the examinees' ability to utilize their martial souls. The rank of one's soul power and the rarity of one's martial soul cannot completely determine the value of a soul master. For example, Tang San, your blue-silver grass is a very ordinary martial soul. However, your true strength is determined by your understanding of your martial soul and how to utilize it. Tang San, you once said that there are no trash martial souls, only trash soul masters. This is the principle. Dai Mubai said slowly. When the 2 of them were fighting at the Rose Hotel, he had heard Tang San say this. Tang San nodded. The most important thing for a soul master was the understanding of the martial soul's application. Moreover, the higher the rank, the harder it is to control the martial soul. If we only focus on the rank of one's soul power and martial soul, we soul masters won't be able to go far. Dai Mubai continued, therefore, the 4th test is a comprehensive test. To be precise, it tests your actual combat ability and whether or not you have any combat experience. Can you withstand the damage caused by combat? How do you use the power of your martial soul in a battle that changes rapidly? Sometimes, combat is the best opportunity to train us soul masters. This point is applicable to any type of soul master. It's the same for assault type, support type, and control type. As they walked, Dai Mubai slowly instilled the academy's basic philosophy into the 5 of them. Wang Feng nodded slightly. Dai Mubai's words and the Shrek Academy's philosophy were considered relatively advanced in the current era of the Douluo world. The requirements are so high. How many students does your academy have in a year? Xiao Wu couldn't help but ask. No wonder the academy is just a small village. Is it like what Brother Feng said? Is it too poor? Dai Mubai coughed twice, and a trace of embarrassment flashed across his face. However, he quickly straightened his face and said, You're right. Our academy doesn't have many students in a year. In the 20 years since the academy was established, we have only recruited a total of 42 students. Therefore, we only have a little more than 2 students in a year. This year, we have 5, which is considered a record. Moreover, among these students, only 14 have graduated. Hearing this, the 5 of them were stunned. So few? Ning Rongrong was surprised. Is the graduation requirement very high? Of course. Dai Mubai's tone was very serious. The graduation requirement is to reach rank 40 before the age of 20. Excluding those who died in the process of cultivation while hunting soul beasts and dropped out early, there are only 14 of them over the years. However, don't look down on these 14. After they had left Shrek Academy, they had all become famous and influential figures. The most powerful one, among them, has already become the youngest elder in the Martial Soul Hall. His authority is second only to the Pope. This graduation requirement was very high. Xiao Wu exclaimed in surprise. Wang Feng shook his head. Even for an academy that only accepted monsters, the graduation rate was only 30%. It was too low. At this point, Dai Mubai suddenly smiled bitterly. It's also because of this that the academy lacks funds. The Balak Kingdom originally wanted to sponsor our academy, but because the academy needs to be loyal to the kingdom, the dean rejected it. If not for my family's sponsorship this year, the academy would have gone bankrupt. But even so, the dean said that it's better to have nothing than to have something substandard. He won't lower any requirements. Dai Mubai's tone was slightly respectful as he finished speaking. The academy recommended by the teacher is indeed extraordinary. I'm very glad that I came to the Shrek Academy. Tang San smiled. The others were also a little emotional. They didn't expect the Shrek Academy to be in such a situation and background. It's just in front. Dai Mubai brought the 5 of them to an empty space and pointed in front. Wang Feng's eyes focused as he looked in front. It was an empty space about the size of 2 football fields. On the side of the empty space, there was a rough-looking middle-aged man in his 50s who was dozing off in a rocking chair. Zhao Wuji. Wang Feng frowned. A soul sage over rank 70 was very difficult to deal with. At this moment, Dai Mubai walked over and whispered a few words to the middle-aged man. After listening, the middle-aged man opened his eyes and stood up, revealing an extremely strong body. From afar, he looked like a bear. His body was full of muscles and gave people a strong sense of oppression. He looks like those super strong men in my previous life. His body is really explosive, Wang Feng thought to himself. His exposed arms were even thicker than the thighs of a girl in her 20s. Ha ha ha, interesting. There are actually 5 monsters over rank 25 this year? Come over here and let me take a look. Zhao Wuji waved his hand at everyone. Chapter 69. Zhao Wuji sized everyone up. His gaze was very gentle, and his face was very amiable. He smiled and said, "Not bad, not bad. My name is Zhao Wuji, and I'm your teacher for the 4th test. In the past, I almost never saw a 12-year-old monster above rank 25. This year, there are 5 of them. I'll play with you guys then. I'll give you the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. In this time, you guys can understand and discuss with each other. After the incense stick, the test will begin. If the 5 of you can withstand my attacks for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, even if only one of you can last until the end, you'll pass." After he finished speaking, he looked at the people who were already stunned. At this moment, Dai Mubai hurried over and said, "Teacher Zhao, this isn't appropriate, right?" "Why? You think there's a problem? Now that the dean isn't here, I'm the boss. I have the final say." Zhao Wuji's tone didn't waver. "No, that's not what I meant." Dai Mubai walked to Zhao Wuji's side and lowered his voice. "What I meant was, an incense stick's time is too short. Why don't you adjust it a little? I think 2 incense sticks time is more appropriate." After he finished speaking, Dai Mubai secretly glanced at Wang Feng. If it was just Tang San and the other 3 against Zhao Wuji, an incense stick's time wouldn't be enough. However, if Wang Feng was included, Dai Mubai felt that it might be different. Wang Feng was able to send him flying with a punch even when he was in his Vajra White Tiger transformation state. Wang Feng's 1st and 2nd soul rings were 1,000-year and 10,000-year soul rings. As long as teacher Zhao didn't use his full strength, an incense stick's time shouldn't be a problem. Dai Mubai felt that he still had this bit of judgment. Zhao Wuji looked at Dai Mubai, and a question mark slowly appeared in his mind. "Do you think that your teacher Zhao is old and can't wield a blade anymore? 2 incense sticks time? Do I need 2 incense sticks time to deal with 5 kids who haven't even shed their hair yet?" His tone didn't soften at all, and it was even a little cold. Hearing this, Dai Mubai's expression changed. He hurriedly walked over and didn't try to persuade him anymore. "Dai Laohu, is this teacher Zhao good?" Xiao Wu frowned and asked, "The 5 of us are all rank 25 soul masters. Isn't it too easy for us to fight against him and only last an incense stick's worth of time?" "Teacher Zhao, it's not a matter of whether he's powerful or not. He's one of those rare soul warriors." Dai Mubai coughed a few times and said, Teacher Zhao's martial spirit is the mighty King Kong bear, an extremely powerful beast martial spirit. It has an unparalleled defensive ability, and its entire body is flawless. It was almost impossible for soul masters of the same rank to effectively injure him. Of course, I'm sure you've already guessed that bear-type martial spirits are mostly clumsy. You might think that his speed isn't good, but that's only relative. Against you guys, he won't be too bad. His powerful offensive abilities and unparalleled defensive abilities make many soul masters at the same level as him helpless against Teacher Zhao. Even if he stood there and allowed you to hit him, you might not be able to make him waver in the slightest or suffer much damage. Therefore, Teacher Zhao is also known as the immovable Wisdom King in the academy. After saying that, Dai Mubai looked at the four of them. Speaking of how powerful he is, what rank is his soul power? Xiao Wu asked, is he a soul emperor? At this moment, Dai Mubai didn't say anything. Ning Rongrong suddenly said, he's not a soul emperor, but a soul ancestor. My father and the others once told me about the immovable Wisdom King's title. 10 years ago, the immovable Wisdom King Zhao Wuji had a grudge with the Martial Soul Palace. At that time, the Martial Soul Palace sent 16 bishops to surround him. These bishops were at least rank 60. At that time, the immovable Wisdom King Zhao Wuji was also over rank 60. Now, he must be even more powerful. I'm guessing that he should be over rank 70. After hearing this, everyone except Wang Feng was stunned. Soul Sage? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Dai Mubai nodded and said, you're right. Teacher Zhao is at least a rank 70 Soul Sage. Furthermore, his 7 soul rings all add to his defense and strength. You can imagine how terrifying he is. Not to mention the 4 of you, even with me, we might not be able to last a minute against him. 4. There are 5 of us. Xiao Wu was puzzled. Are you saying that Brother Feng isn't human? Wang Feng. No, don't talk nonsense. I didn't say that. Dai Mubai glared at Xiao Wu. I'm saying that with Wang Feng, you guys will have an easier time. These words were very novel. Dai Mubai, is Wang Feng that powerful? Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Feng. This is a real battle. It's not just a comparison of soul power and soul rings. According to what you said, he also needs a deep understanding of his martial soul and its application. Furthermore, he's an auxiliary-type soul master. Ning Rongrong didn't say this. Zhu Zhuqing also looked at Wang Feng. There was a hint of curiosity in her eyes. She seemed to be surprised and puzzled by Dai Mubai's words. I think so too. Tang San smiled and said, all right, Brother Dai has already told us a lot of useful information. Let's get to know each other and introduce ourselves. I'm Tang San. My martial soul is Blue Silver Grass. I'm a rank 29 control-type soul master. Xiao Wu. Her martial soul is a rabbit. I'm a rank 29 assault-type soul master. Ning Rongrong. Her martial soul is the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda. She's a rank 26 auxiliary-type soul master. Zhu Zhuqing. Her martial soul is the Netherworld Civet. She's a rank 27 agility-type soul master. When the 4 of them finished speaking, their gazes simultaneously fell on Ning Rongrong. You're from the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect? Tang San looked at Ning Rongrong in surprise. The 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda is known as the strongest auxiliary-type soul master on the Pan continent. I didn't expect to be able to fight with someone from the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. Ning Rongrong glanced at Wang Feng and said with a chuckle, I also sneaked out. My auxiliary ability can increase your strength and speed by 30% for the time it takes to burn an incense stick. It's definitely not a problem. However, I don't have any offensive abilities. After saying that, Ning Rongrong looked at them. In a battle between soul masters, a 30% increase was a critical and fatal increase if they were of the same rank. If they were of different ranks, it meant that it was possible to challenge someone of a higher rank. And the higher the rank, the greater the increase. For many soul masters, this was a battle partner that they yearned for. Sure enough, after Ning Rongrong finished speaking, Tang San and the others exclaimed in surprise. Hee, then our chances of winning are even greater, Xiao Wu said happily. Tang San also nodded with a smile on his face. He was obviously happy to have an auxiliary-type soul master as a battle partner. Even the ice-cold Zhu Zhuqing looked at Ning Rongrong with a bit of gentleness. This made Ning Rongrong feel a little proud. Suddenly, she looked at Wang Feng and saw that this bastard didn't seem to care at all. She couldn't help but feel stifled in her heart. Wang Feng, what about you? Ning Rongrong looked at the silent Wang Feng and couldn't help but ask. Ning Rongrong's words instantly caused everyone's gaze to fall on Wang Feng. Before Wang Feng could answer, Dai Mubai opened his mouth. He should be the strongest assault-type tool soul master among all of you. I suggest that you let him be the main attacker later. Dai Mubai felt that he would never forget the punch at the Rose Hotel, so he suggested in advance. However, when Dai Mubai finished speaking, he realized that Tang San and Xiao Wu were looking at him strangely. Even Ning Rongrong was looking at him in shock. Dai Mubai was stunned. Could it be that he said something wrong? If I remember correctly, Wang Feng told me that he's an auxiliary-type soul master. Ning Rongrong blinked. Dai Mubai laughed. Ning Rongrong, don't tease me. How can he be an auxiliary-type soul master? After saying that, Dai Mubai looked at Wang Feng. Unfortunately, this humble one is indeed an auxiliary-type soul master. Wang Feng laughed and said, Level 30, Tool Martial Spirit Green Lotus. As for my ability, I can quickly heal your injuries. As long as I'm here, as long as you're not dead, I should be able to wake you up. Wang Feng finished speaking. Dai Mubai was stunned. Ning Rongrong was stunned. Zhu Zhuqing was also stunned. Even Tang San and Xiao Wu were stunned. Wait, wasn't Brother Feng's auxiliary ability to recover soul power? When did it become a healing ability? Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at Wang Feng in confusion. Chapter 70. A healing-type support-type soul master was as rare as a support-type soul master. Furthermore, as long as they were not dead, they could be saved? What kind of concept was this? There were probably not many healing-type soul masters on the continent who dared to say this. The most shocked person was naturally Dai Mubai. You, a rank 30 soul master who could send me flying with one punch, are telling me that you are a healing-type soul master? The kind of healing-type soul master who hides behind the battlefield and heals injured teammates? Dai Mubai looked at Wang Feng. For a moment, he was somewhat unable to accept this. The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Healing type? As long as they are not dead, they can be saved? Are you serious? Ning Rongrong opened her small mouth slightly. If there really was such a healing-type martial soul, it would have been famous on the continent long ago. But just now, Ning Rongrong had not seen Wang Feng's mysterious and beautiful little flower martial soul at all. Zhu Zhuqing also felt that it was a little inconceivable. A true healing-type martial soul was very rare. It's true. Wang Feng nodded. So, the battle is about to start. You guys can do whatever you want. If you have any moves, just use them on Teacher Zhao. If you are injured, it's on me. As for me, I will heal you from behind and heal your injuries. It was very difficult for Wang Feng to improve in team battles. The main reason was that he was too strong. He could fight Zhao Wuji one-on-one, but that was a matter for Xiao San. Wang Feng intended to find another opportunity. But it would not be good if he did not participate. Moreover, Tang San and the others needed such a battle to let them practice and adapt to the battle. Wang Feng felt that this was a good opportunity to show his healing ability. The main reason was that he did not want them to be seriously injured later. In the original work, Wang Feng still remembered very clearly that in this battle, Zhu Zhuqing, Xiao Wu, and Tang San all suffered different degrees of injuries. Zhu Zhuqing and Xiao Wu both fainted and needed a day to recover. Oscar's sausage could not heal them. Zhu Zhuqing was not mentioned. Tang San and Xiao Wu had a good relationship with him. He did not want them to be injured and not be healed for the time being. Injuries had to be experienced in a battle, but healing also requires time. In the past 5 years, Wang Feng himself had suffered many injuries. Big brother Feng, but I remember that your support ability isn't recovering soul power? Xiao Wu asked in confusion. Even now, Xiao Wu still remembered that day 6 years ago outside the small forest. Brother Feng had punched the small tree behind her and helped her and her third brother recover their soul force. How did it become a cure? Hearing Xiao Wu's words, Dai Mubai and the others were stunned again. He also had 2 abilities? Recover soul power? Impossible! Cough cough. The ability of my martial spirit is determined by my mood. Wang Feng calmly said, for example, if I don't want to fight now, my martial spirit's ability will be inclined towards healing. If he were to tell them that his martial soul had different forms, it would be too troublesome to explain. When everyone heard this, they were dumbfounded. Was there really such a martial soul? Okay, cut the crap, Wang Feng said quickly. Tang San, hurry up and make a battle plan for them. Oh, okay. Tang San quickly nodded. Dai Mubai retreated to the side and watched quietly. He vaguely felt that this battle might be very interesting. Not long after, Tang San made a battle plan. Xiao Wu would be the main attacker, he would control, Zhu Zhuqing would be the support, and Ning Rongrong and Wang Feng would be the support from the back. It was simple and direct. The specifics would depend on the actual operation. At this time, the incense stick was almost burned out. Okay, children, prepare to receive the baptism of battle. Zhao Wuji's loud voice sounded. After he finished speaking, he took out another incense stick and directly stuck it into the ground. At this time, behind him, Ning Rongrong quietly turned around. Her soft and beautiful voice, accompanied by her fluttering white dress, slowly rang out. Out of the 7 treasures, there's colored glass. As soon as she finished speaking, a 7-colored light lit up from Ning Rongrong's body, making her look like a fairy descending to the mortal world. In the center of her palm, a 7-colored pagoda suddenly appeared. At the same time, 2 yellow soul rings slowly rose from under Ning Rongrong's feet, spiraling and emitting a faint brilliance. Out of the 7 treasures, the first one is strength. Ning Rongrong softly chanted the incantation, and her first soul ring lit up. Then, her fingertip lightly tapped the pagoda, and 3 rays of light landed on Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing. Out of the 7 treasures, the first one is speed. Immediately after, Ning Rongrong did not hesitate. Her second soul ring lit up, and another 3 rays of light floated out from the pagoda and landed on the 3 of them. In an instant, the 3 of them felt as if their bodies were filled with strength, and even their bones felt lighter. That feeling was like eating ice cream in the dog days of summer. Their whole body was indescribably comfortable and happy. Good luck. Ning Rongrong said one last sentence. On the other side, Zhao Wuji looked at Ning Rongrong in surprise. Good fellow, I didn't expect that the people from the 7 treasure glaze tile sect would come this year. Interesting, I wonder how happy old Ghost Flanders will be when he sees this. Come on. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Wuji did not give the 3 of them a chance to take the initiative to attack, and directly attacked Ning Rongrong. Seeing this scene, Tang San secretly knew that things were not good. Fortunately, Zhao Wuji's speed was not fast. Almost when he was close to Ning Rongrong, his blue-silver grass instantly activated, and long pitch-black vines grew out from the ground under Ning Rongrong's feet, locking her and quickly pulling her in another direction. Haha, you've been fooled, haven't you? Seeing this, Zhao Wuji was not alarmed, but happy. He turned around and directly rushed towards Wang Feng, who was beside Ning Rongrong. This kid is definitely strange. He doesn't want to reveal anything, so I must get rid of this kid first. A long night is fraught with dreams. Zhao Wuji was indeed a soul sage over rank 70. His intuition, which had been on the battlefield for a long time, and Dai Mubai's previous advice, made him extremely vigilant. "Brother Feng, be careful." Suddenly, 2 exclamations sounded. It was Tang San and Xiao Wu. Tang San could only control one person, so he directly chose to save Ning Rongrong. The main reason was that Master had once said that if he encountered a soul master from the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, he had to deal with them immediately. Therefore, he preconceived that Zhao Wuji wanted to deal with Ning Rongrong first, because once Ning Rongrong was dealt with, the support effects on the 3 of them would be broken. How could he have known that Zhao Wuji was actually creating a diversion and cunningly targeting Brother Feng? It was very strange. Even Wang Feng was a little confused. Wait, why did Zhao Wuji hit me as soon as he arrived? This doesn't make sense. I clearly didn't do anything, nor did I say anything. I also didn't report my soul ring just now. Logically speaking, Zhao Wuji didn't know much about the 5 of them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have recognized that they were from the 7 treasure glazed tile sect after Ning Rongrong released her soul skill. Why did he target me as soon as he arrived? Wang Feng was a little puzzled at this moment. At this critical moment, although Wang Feng was puzzled, he didn't intend to fight Zhao Wuji head-on. Instead, he shook his palm and quickly lit up his martial soul. The golden lotus quietly bloomed. A wisp of golden light instantly gushed out from the golden lotus and landed on Zhao Wuji's body. "Take this!" Wang Feng shouted in a low voice. When everyone saw this, they all looked on in astonishment. "Wait, isn't your martial soul healing? Why did you give it to Teacher Zhao?" However, in the next moment, they were instantly stunned. They saw Zhao Wuji, who was charging towards Wang Feng aggressively, suddenly turn red when he was only 2 steps away from Wang Feng. His entire body suddenly staggered, his legs went soft, and he almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Zhao Wuji reacted quickly and staggered back a few steps. With a big jump, he quickly moved 10 steps away from Wang Feng and looked at Wang Feng with a gloomy and vigilant face. "Everyone, what's going on? What happened just now? Kid, what the hell did you do just now?" Zhao Wuji's face was a little ugly. Just now, an inexplicable impulse and desire suddenly surged in his heart. It was difficult to suppress, so much so that his legs were a little sore and his entire body was very comfortable. However, he was too comfortable, so much so that he didn't even have the will to fight. His control over his body plummeted. If not for his firm will, he would have cried out in comfort just now. It was too embarrassing. This kid was indeed strange. "Teacher Zhao, let me heal you," Wang Feng said with a smile. "Bullshit. I'm not injured at all." Zhao Wuji shouted, "What soul skill did you use just now? It's so strange. It's simply like eating that special knockout drug. Do you think that I, the immovable wisdom king, Zhao Wuji, am an honest person who doesn't know anything?" Zhao Wuji had a look of, "I'm an experienced person, don't even think about lying to me." Hearing this, everyone seemed to understand a little and looked at Wang Feng with incomparable astonishment. "I'm really healing you." Wang Feng waved his hand and said, "It's just that my healing has some side effects on the enemy. There's something even more exciting, Teacher Zhao, do you want to try it?" When everyone heard this, they suddenly understood. Could it be that Wang Feng's healing ability had a real healing effect on his comrades, but on the enemy, it had a reverse side effect? That was too awesome. This completely solved the problem of healing-type soul masters being easily attacked during battle. Just now, even Teacher Zhao couldn't avoid being hit. Zhao Wuji looked at this kid with a gloomy face. Chapter 71. Seeing that Zhao Wuji was deep in thought, Wang Feng shouted, "Attack! What are you guys waiting for?" With this shout, everyone woke up from their stupor. As the main attacker, Xiao Wu took the lead and rushed towards Zhao Wuji. She tapped her feet on the ground and jumped up. At the same time, a vine appeared perfectly above Xiao Wu's landing point, giving her a boost. Naturally, it was Tang San's blue-silver grass and Xiao Wu's tacit cooperation. Stepping on the vines, Xiao Wu bent them like a fully drawn bow and shot them towards Zhao Wuji. Brother Feng had perfectly avoided Zhao Wuji. Now that he had regained his senses, they naturally attacked without holding anything back. However, when Zhao Wuji saw Xiao Wu's attack, a faint smile appeared on his face. He didn't dodge or scatter. He was like a wooden stake, waiting for Xiao Wu to attack. Although Xiao Wu felt that it was a little strange, she didn't let go of the opportunity. She was already proficient in using her martial soul. Her feet formed a scissor shape and she completed the martial soul possession in the air, attacking Zhao Wuji's neck. Bang bang! Two low and deep sounds rang out. Xiao Wu's swift and fierce attack, with a strength that could almost snap an ordinary tree in half, landed on Zhao Wuji's shoulders. However, it was completely unable to cause any damage to Zhao Wuji. It didn't even make him move. Your coordination is not bad. Relying on the toughness of the blue-silver grass, your strength is greatly increased. However, little girl, you're a girl. Your strength is naturally too weak, Zhao Wuji said with a calm smile. Xiao Wu didn't say anything and only frowned. At this moment, vines grew out from Zhao Wuji's feet and pulled him into the air. The poison in the vines instantly numbed Zhao Wuji's feet. Immediately after, the vines disappeared. Without the support of the vines, Zhao Wuji was currently in the air. Even if he had the 1,000-pound fall, it was useless. However, Xiao Wu's feet were still clamped on Zhao Wuji's shoulders. Waist bow. At this moment, Xiao Wu's hands opened slightly, and two vines appeared in an instant, grabbing her hands and bending her body into an extreme arc. Get down. Xiao Wu's legs turned, and while Zhao Wuji was in the air, she used the strength of her legs and the help of the vines to throw Zhao Wuji down. Good heavens, their teamwork is extraordinary. What happened in the blink of an eye shocked Zhao Wuji. It was impossible to achieve this kind of cooperation without a few years of practice. Zhao Wuji didn't know that Tang San and Xiao Wu had fought Wang Feng together countless times. In the past 5 years, the two of them rarely fought. Most of the time, they fought together against Wang Feng. Their tacit understanding naturally far exceeded Zhao Wuji's imagination. Just as he was about to land on the ground, Zhao Wuji wanted to prop himself up with both hands. If he directly smashed into the ground, he was afraid that he would not feel good either. But just as he spread out his hands in the distance, a ghostly figure had already appeared on Zhao Wuji's back at some point in time. Without a sound, it was Zhu Zhuqing. Ding ding ding. A series of attacks sounded. Zhao Wuji had no choice but to use his hands to turn his back. At the same time, he released his soul power. 7 soul rings instantly lit up from his body to block Zhu Zhuqing's attacks. His hands couldn't support himself on the ground. Even if Zhao Wuji released his soul power, he could only fall to the ground with a loud explosion. Zhu Zhuqing's light flashed. Before Zhao Wuji landed, she jumped up lightly from his back and was not attacked by Zhao Wuji. The timing could be said to be extremely clever. Otherwise, it would be impossible to cooperate with Tang San and Xiao Wu to complete this attack. A loud noise suddenly rang out. It was unknown how heavy Zhao Wuji's body was. When he was smashed to the ground, there was a violent vibration and dust filled the sky. For a moment, the three of them looked at the place where Zhao Wuji landed. Third brother, were we too heavy-handed? Xiao Wu was slightly nervous. Tang San shook his head and said, "It's not that simple." Zhu Zhuqing was also standing in the distance. At this moment, after being possessed by her martial soul, her appearance had changed slightly. One of her eyes was dark green, while the other was clear blue. Her claws were like sharp blades, emitting a cold light, and her gaze was cold. Next, you guys will face Zhao Wuji's storm-like attacks, Wang Feng thought to himself. He didn't intend to make a move. Wang Feng knew that if he made a move, this battle would be too easy. The three of them almost didn't suffer any injuries, and only 1/3 of the incense stick had been burned. At this moment, as the dust dispersed, Zhao Wuji supported himself on the ground with both hands and pulled out his head, which was embedded in the ground, like pulling out a carrot. Then, he shook it. Zhao Wuji seemed to have revived and appeared in front of Tang San and the other two. In an instant, the three of them narrowed their eyes. Only then did they understand what Dai Mubai had said just now. Even if Teacher Zhao stood on the spot and let them hit him, it would be very difficult to cause any damage. Against a soul sage over rank 70, it would be extremely difficult for them to injure Teacher Zhao with just a few soul masters who weren't even rank 30. Especially now. 7 soul rings lit up on Zhao Wuji's body, and his body was even stronger than before. He was at least 2.5 meters tall, and his body was covered in a layer of brown bear fur. From afar, those muscles that were filled with explosive strength were like a real large-strength King Kong bear. The pressure that was so condensed that it seemed to be real assaulted his face. Oh no! Teacher Zhao is planning to use his soul power. Dai Mubai thought to himself. Just now, it was only because Teacher Zhao was careless, Tang San and Xiao Wu's tacit cooperation, and Ning Rongrong's attribute enhancement that the three of them worked together to cause Teacher Zhao to suffer a loss. But even so, it was impossible to cause any damage to Teacher Zhao. Instead, at this moment, Teacher Zhao's soul power surged, and his entire body exuded a valiant and domineering aura. It was obvious that he was going to play with Tang San and the others a little more seriously. Come on, the sun is just right today. My sleepiness just now has dissipated a little, Zhao Wuji said seriously. It was obvious that he was looking for a way out for himself. Dai Mubai wanted to laugh, but he held it in. Since I'm not sleepy anymore, I can also be a little more serious with you guys. Zhao Wuji roared. Come on, let's continue. After saying that, Zhao Wuji walked towards Tang San step by step. He could see that these two people's cooperation was too good, especially this kid who used blue-silver grass. It was a little troublesome to control. If he got rid of him first, these three people's attacks would instantly collapse. Xiao Wu. Seeing Zhao Wuji walk over, Tang San shouted in a low voice and lowered his shoulders. Xiao Wu jumped lightly and stepped on Tang San's shoulders, directly leaping high into the air. Again? Zhao Wuji sneered. The same move is useless against me. With that, Zhao Wuji also jumped high into the air, intending to catch this jumping little rabbit in the air. But at this moment, several vines directly wrapped around Xiao Wu. Almost at the same time that Zhao Wuji punched Xiao Wu was immediately changed direction by the vines. At the same time, the vines helped Xiao Wu to kick Zhao Wuji sideways. From afar, it looked like there was an iron hammer tied to the tip of a vine. It strangely changed its arc and smashed towards Zhao Wuji's side. Meteor hammer. Wang Feng glanced at it. It could be considered a combination technique between Tang San and Xiao Wu. He had experienced it many times, but this technique was very difficult to be effective against Zhao Wuji, who had astonishing defense. Unless he was the one tied to the vine, he could still cause damage to Zhao Wuji with a kick. Xiao Wu was too light and weak, so the attack she could unleash was very limited. The reality was as Wang Feng expected. Xiao Wu's kick on Zhao Wuji's body only made him slightly stunned. Even if he was in the air, it didn't affect him at all. At the same time, another cold figure also attacked Zhao Wuji. 2 soul rings lit up from this figure. Zhu Zhuqing, who was attacking from the side, was extremely fast. When she approached Zhao Wuji, her body spun into afterimages. Countless cold lights flashed through the afterimages. That cold light was naturally her second soul skill, Netherworld White Claw. This soul skill reminded Wang Feng of the 9 White Bone Claw. They also looked somewhat similar. In an extremely short period of time, she could use these two moves to launch over 100 attacks on the enemy. Furthermore, she would specifically target the same weak spot. At this moment, she was targeting Zhao Wuji's back. It was extremely tricky. The two attacks caused Zhao Wuji's eyes to flash with a golden light. The next moment, the first yellow soul ring on his body suddenly rose. A furious roar came from Zhao Wuji's mouth. Golden light shone brightly. At the same time, Zhu Zhuqing let out a miserable scream in the air, and was sent flying by this roar. She spat out a mouthful of blood, and her consciousness became blurry. Similarly, Xiao Wu suffered even more miserably. Her foot had just landed on Zhao Wuji's body. The force of the rebound caused her to spit out a mouthful of blood. The vines tied to her body also instantly broke and fell from the sky. Even Tang San, who was far away, felt the blood in his body surge because of the instant shattering of the vines. He felt extremely uncomfortable. However, he hurriedly used his blue-silver grass again and pulled Xiao Wu into his embrace. Although it was only Zhao Wuji's first soul skill, this soul skill instantly disintegrated the attacks of the three of them. This was the true strength of a rank 76 soul sage. Immediately after, Zhao Wuji snorted coldly and slapped Tang San in the distance like a palm leaf fan. At the critical moment, Xiao Wu, who only had 30% consciousness left, opened her eyes. A trace of blood red flashed across her eyes as she looked at Zhao Wuji. A charm-type soul skill? Zhao Wuji was stunned, but he was not shocked. Instead, he was delighted. A golden light flashed in his eyes and he directly met Xiao Wu's eyes. Almost instantly, Xiao Wu fainted the moment she met his eyes. Tang San also took advantage of the momentary opportunity that Xiao Wu had obtained with great difficulty to dodge Zhao Wuji's palm with Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track. Zhao Wuji did not continue to chase and only stood in place. Xiao Wu, Xiao Wu. Tang San called out a few times anxiously. But at this moment, Xiao Wu had already fainted and he could not wake her up. At the same time, Dai Mubai, who was far away, was also hugging Zhu Zhuqing with a gloomy expression. Obviously, Zhu Zhuqing had also fainted. Don't worry, she's fine. She just suffered a backlash. The difference between her soul power and mine is huge. In addition, my martial soul, the mighty Vajra Bear, is the best at restraining this kind of soul skill. Let her sleep for a night and she should be more or less healed by tomorrow. Zhao Wuji smiled and said, I don't think I need to do anything anymore, right? Even if you guys add that little girl from the 7 Treasure Glaze Tile sect, you won't be able to last more than 5 minutes. However, at this moment, before Zhao Wuji could finish speaking, 3 golden rays of light suddenly floated over from afar. They accurately landed on Xiao Wu, Tang San, and Zhu Zhuqing. The resplendent light enveloped the 3 of them. Everyone present was stunned for a moment. Almost at the next moment. Third brother, you're holding me a little too tightly. I'm fine. My whole body was warm and comfortable just now. Xiao Wu's voice rang out clearly. Chapter 72. At the same time, Zhu Zhuqing slowly woke up. When she saw that she was lying in Dai Mubai's arms, her face turned cold. Put me down. With that, Zhu Zhuqing gently jumped up and landed steadily on the ground. Dai Mubai. I only held her for a few seconds. He looked at Wang Feng in the distance. What do you need to recover by tomorrow? Wang Feng said with a smile. Xiao San, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, continue. Zhao Wuji. Brother, don't look at me. I'm fine. Xiao Wu waved her hand, wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and said with a smile, I feel like I have strength again. Tang San stared at Xiao Wu in disbelief. You're really fine? Although it wasn't a fatal injury, It was definitely a serious one. How long had it been? She had recovered? Even Tang San felt that the surging blood in his body calmed down in an instant, but he was too concerned about Xiao Wu to notice it. This healing ability is too exaggerated, isn't it? Ning Rongrong in the distance opened her mouth. She almost thought that they had lost the battle. But now, the three of them seemed to have recovered in an instant? Zhu Zhuqing's eyes fell on Wang Feng, and there was a hint of gratitude in her eyes, but her gaze towards Zhao Wuji was even colder. Xiao Wu also looked at Zhao Wuji and said, "Teacher Zhao, we already know your first soul skill. This time, it won't be so easy for us to fall into your trap. Also, the incense stick is already 2/3 gone." "Teacher Zhao, come on, let's continue?" Xiao Wu said the same words as Zhao Wuji. It was a little ironic. Zhao Wuji turned his head stiffly and looked at Wang Feng. This brat. He didn't pay attention to him when he found out that the other party only had a healing ability and had a strange effect on him. He didn't expect, sure enough, this brat was the most difficult to deal with. This abnormal healing ability almost made the three of them full of blood. If Tang San and the other two could do it again, it would be too easy for them to survive the last 1/3 of the incense stick. Furthermore, looking at this little brat's relaxed expression, it seemed like he didn't consume much soul power? This meant that unless he really killed or crippled these three people would always be revived with full health. However, it was impossible for him to really kill or cripple the three of them. If the dean was here, he would probably scold him for seriously injuring two of them. "Brat, I really underestimated you." Zhao Wuji looked at Wang Feng and shook his head. "Bring it on then. If you can fight until the last moment, it'll be your win." As expected, the time it takes for an incense stick to burn was not enough. If he had known earlier, he would have listened to Mu Bai and burned a few more incense sticks. At this time, Wang Feng looked at Tang San. "Wait, teacher." Tang San's face looked a little gloomy. "What's wrong?" Zhao Wuji looked at Tang San. "If it's possible, I would like to have a rematch with you. This time, I'll only use one person." Tang San said slowly, "If I can hold on for the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, we will pass the exam. What do you think?" Hearing this, everyone except Wang Feng was stunned. "Brother, how can you do it alone?" Xiao Wu said anxiously. Tang San shook his head and said, "Xiao Wu, although Brother Feng's healing ability is very powerful, I don't want to see you injured again." Every time he saw Xiao Wu injured, Tang San felt very sad. After all, he didn't protect Xiao Wu well. He wouldn't allow this to happen again. Hearing this, Wang Fengxin couldn't help but sigh. Little San was really a wife-doting demon. He really couldn't bear to see Xiao Wu injured. He had a foresight and felt that one would always get injured in battle. Only when one was injured would one's combat experience increase. In the past 5 years, he had fought with many soul beasts. He had suffered countless injuries and lost a lot of blood. Forget it. I'm a single dog. I can't understand Little San's wife-doting mentality. Wang Feng watched quietly. He knew that Tang San wanted to show his full strength. "Are you sure?" Zhao Wuji looked at Tang San. His courage was commendable, commendable. He really thought that Zhao Wuji was old. "Tang San, we're teammates. It's not good for you to be alone, right?" Ning Rongrong walked over and asked with a frown. "So, I'll still have to trouble you to help me increase my strength later." Tang San smiled. "Don't worry. Even if I lose, you'll still pass the exam. This is just my battle." Ning Rongrong nodded. After thinking for a while, she said, "Father said that a team should act like a team. If you lose, none of us will pass the exam." Hearing this, Tang San was stunned. On the other hand, Zhao Wuji laughed loudly and said, "Little girl, you're right." Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai were silent. Tang San insisted because of Xiao Wu. They couldn't say anything. Ning Rongrong was right. "Ning Rongrong, this girl, I feel that she's really two extremes. Wang Feng couldn't help but feel curious. He knew that this girl was actually hiding her arrogance and haughtiness, but the side she was showing now was really different. After making the decision, Tang San and Zhao Wuji walked back to the square again. Wang Feng walked to the side, feeling a little bored. He naturally knew the result. The difference wouldn't be too big unless he used a deified soul skill on Tang San. But it wouldn't change the final result. It would only make Tang San's attack more successful. The difference between his soul power and Zhao Wuji's was huge. Not to mention doubling his attributes, even doubling them would be useless. This was still under the condition that Zhao Wuji didn't use too much strength. Almost at the moment Tang San attacked, everyone's expressions changed except for Wang Feng and Xiao Wu. Immediately after, the square began to shake. Tang San's hidden weapons were endless. It was as if there were countless hidden weapons on his body. They crazily smashed towards Zhao Wuji from all angles. Zhao Wuji used 5 soul skills in a row, but he was still unable to completely capture Tang San. Penetrating bone nails, flowery crossbow, controlling crane capturing dragon, ghost shadow perplexing track, mysterious jade hands, and all kinds of poisons were used by Tang San skillfully. Dai Mubai and the others were shocked. In the end, Tang San used his second martial soul, Clear Sky Hammer, for the second time and hammered Zhao Wuji until he was dizzy. And Tang San was also sent flying by Zhao Wuji's palm. The square instantly calmed down. And at this time, an incense stick's time had passed. Zhao Wuji stood up with an ugly expression on his face. His nose was bleeding. He fought this battle in a very cowardly manner. On the one hand, because he couldn't use his full strength, he had to control his strength. Otherwise, he would accidentally hurt Tang San. On the other hand, he wasn't good at strength. Tang San's hidden weapons, exquisite calculations, explosive shots, and the mysterious hammer at the end all made him suffer a great loss. On the contrary, Tang San was extremely desperate and used all his trump cards. However, it was already not easy to fight with him like this. Zhao Wuji sighed. He had nowhere to vent the anger in his heart. Tang San was also not in a good state. His face was a little pale and blood flowed out of his mouth. He barely stood up with the help of Dai Mubai. At this time, the few people watching the battle were discussing. Tang San, what kind of attack method did he use? I've never seen it before. Ning Rongrong said in surprise. Xiao Wu said proudly, that's called a hidden weapon. It's third brother's ultimate technique. It's very powerful. So far, I've only seen one person who can dodge third brother's hidden weapon. This is teacher Zhao's first time seeing it, and his speed is not good. To third brother, he's a living target. Hidden weapon? Dai Mubai murmured, I didn't see the trajectory of those things just now. They were too fast. If it were me, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to hold on for long. However, Dai Mubai seemed to have thought of something and couldn't help but ask, wait, you said that someone can dodge Tang San's hidden weapon? Who? Is it also a soul sage? Hearing this, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing also looked at Xiao Wu curiously. It's not a soul sage. At this time, Tang San said in a low voice, it's Brother Feng. So far, he's the only one who can dodge all my hidden weapons for the time being. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Even Zhao Wuji was stunned. Those damn things Tang San used just now were extremely tricky. Even if he was prepared now, it was impossible for him to dodge them. Unless he was an agility-type soul warrior who was at least rank 60, he could dodge all of them. How could that kid with a terrifying healing ability dodge all of Tang San's hidden weapons? Wang Feng smiled at everyone. Without saying anything, he waved his hand and 2 rays of light fell on Tang San and Zhao Wuji. The 2 of them seemed to be seriously injured, but in fact they were relatively light. It didn't take long for them to recover. Tang San also took out the dragon beard needles from Zhao Wuji's body. I don't believe it. Ning Rongrong hurriedly shook her head. Tang San didn't explain. It didn't matter whether he believed it or not. As early as half a year ago, he had a real fight with Brother Feng. At that time, although he was a little weaker than he was now, he also used all his trump cards. There wasn't much difference except that he didn't have the dragon beard needles. But he still didn't cause any harm to Brother Feng. Brother Feng's speed and reaction were so fast that even Tang San couldn't imagine it. Therefore, Tang San couldn't imagine Wang Feng's specific strength all these years. I don't believe it either. Zhao Wuji was furious. He rubbed his face. He didn't recover quickly and there were still several big bumps on his face. Those were the toxins that hadn't been removed yet. But his body was indeed warm and there were no injuries in his body. He couldn't help but be even more amazed by this brat's healing ability. After saying that, Zhao Wuji seemed to think for a while and a smile appeared on his face. He looked at Wang Feng with a strange gaze. Tang San, all of you have passed. But this brat, he doesn't count. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Zhao Wuji crossed his hands and rubbed them. A crackling sound like beans exploding sounded. You brat, come and fight with me. Zhao Wuji looked at Wang Feng. His eyes seemed to be burning with flames. Since Tang San said that you are so powerful, it just so happens that I didn't feel good fighting just now. Come and let me have some fun. Hearing this, everyone instantly froze. One by one, they looked at Zhao Wuji in shock. Wang Feng. Teacher Zhao, you are a little unreasonable. Dai Mubai whispered, Wang Feng is a healing-type soul master. If you continue, you will go up personally. I will help you loosen your bones. Dai Mubai instantly shut up. Teacher Zhao, we are a team. Ning Rongrong also hurriedly said, How can you bully Wang Feng alone? That's too much. You are so concerned about him. Do you like this brat? You are talking nonsense. I don't care anymore. Ning Rongrong was stunned. She was so embarrassed that her face turned red. Her eyes wavered, and she didn't dare to look at Wang Feng. Zhao Wuji scolded the two of them in a row, but they had nothing to say. Teacher, if it's... Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at each other and were about to speak. However, Zhao Wuji waved his hand and interrupted them. Stop talking nonsense, you two. Don't think that you are really capable just because you can waste an incense's time with me just now. Tang San. Teacher, can I fight with him? Zhu Zhuqing, who was on the side, was silent for a moment and said, You little kitten, how many moves can you exchange with me? Go to the side and wait. At this time, Zhao Wuji was like a barrel of gunpowder that would ignite at the slightest touch. Obviously, the battle just now was very sullen. If he didn't find someone to vent his anger, it would be difficult for him to calm down. Everyone was panicking. At this moment, Wang Feng suddenly said, Okay. All right, since you've asked so sincerely, I'll be merciful and satisfy you. Chapter 73. At this moment, Zhao Wuji was like a volcano that was about to erupt. Whoever went up against him would be finished. But in fact, if Wang Feng didn't agree, he couldn't really disagree with Wang Feng's test. Because Wang Feng's soul power and talent were already very obvious. Just his healing ability alone was enough for him to enter the Shrek Academy. It was obvious that teacher Zhao wanted to beat this kid up to vent the anger in his heart. But no one expected Wang Feng to agree to Zhao Wuji's request. Brother Feng, it's my fault. Tang San smiled bitterly. If he hadn't forced himself to be brave for Xiao Wu and used all his trump cards, teacher Zhao wouldn't have found trouble with Brother Feng at this time. He was indeed a little impulsive just now. After all, teacher Zhao was a teacher, not a real enemy. Moreover, Brother Feng didn't have his hidden weapons. Plus, teacher Zhao was suppressing his anger at this time. It was even more difficult to fight with teacher Zhao now. If teacher Zhao fought with him now, he wouldn't be so easy to get hit. Tang San thought in his heart. Why should I blame you? You did nothing wrong. Wang Feng said with a smile. I really want to fight with Teacher Zhao. Even if I really get beaten up, I'm not afraid. My martial soul has the ability to heal. He really wasn't afraid. Zhao Wuji wouldn't kill him. Moreover, he wouldn't be beaten up so easily. Wang Feng, you're a healing type auxiliary soul master. Do you really want to fight with Teacher Zhao? Ning Rongrong suddenly turned her head, the blush on her face fading slightly. Don't force yourself. Even if you can dodge Tang San's hidden weapons, it doesn't mean you can dodge Teacher Zhao's attack. We'll know after we fight. Wang Feng glanced at her. He didn't expect Ning Rongrong to care about others. Okay, you guys stop talking. Zhao Wuji looked at Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing, who still wanted to say something, and immediately waved his hand. He's not afraid of being beaten up by me. What are you guys still talking about? Dai Mubai, take them to their rooms first. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Wang Feng was also stunned. What the hell? If I let them go, who am I going to show off to? He couldn't leave. Wang Feng hurriedly coughed a few times. Teacher Zhao, let us finish reading. Tang San said. In case you can't stop it later and an accident happens, we can stop it in time. Yeah, I have to buff Wang Feng, Ning Rongrong hurriedly chimed in. Zhao Wuji thought for a moment and nodded. He smiled and said, All right, I'll let you go. I just don't want you to have any psychological trauma. Everyone. This kid's healing ability is so strong that it's even better than Oscar's sausage. I'm going to get my hands on him later. Zhao Wuji thought to himself. When the two of them arrived at the square was already in a mess. Wang Feng, wait a moment. I'll give you a buff, Ning Rongrong hurriedly shouted. However, Wang Feng waved his hand and said, Thanks, but I don't need it for now. Ning Rongrong was furious. Are you looking down on my 7 treasures glazed pagoda? As if he knew what Ning Rongrong was thinking, Wang Feng explained, I want to spar with Teacher Zhao normally first. I don't mean anything else. After hearing the explanation, Ning Rongrong's anger subsided a little. However, she still snorted and said, Be careful then. Kid, tell me, where do you want me to beat you up? Zhao Wuji stood there casually. He had almost fully recovered from his previous injuries, and after the battle just now, he was in a very good state right now. I want to beat you up. Wang Feng grinned and charged straight at Zhao Wuji. Fast. Extremely fast. A stream of air burst out from where he stood. Dai Mubai, Tang San, and the others did not even see his shadow. Big Brother Feng's movement skill isn't exquisite, but the essence of any movement skill is pure speed. With the purest speed, any exquisite movement skill is nothing but an illusion. Tang San took a deep breath. Purple light flashed in his eyes as he activated the purple demon eyes. Only then could he faintly see Big Brother Feng's afterimages. This was why his hidden weapons were not effective against Big Brother Feng. Big Brother Feng's reaction was too fast. Sometimes, Tang San even wondered if Big Brother Feng's achievements would be higher than his if he learned the various exquisite hidden weapons in the Black Heaven Treasure Record. However, it was just a thought. The Black Heaven Treasure Record was the treasure of the Tang sect. If he could not establish the Tang sect, he could not spread it. Wang Feng's speed was like a gust of wind, bringing with him waves of smoke. This kid is good at speed? No wonder he could dodge Tang San's various sinister hidden weapons. Zhao Wuji thought to himself, but he stood there as steady as Mount Tai. Good at speed? Zhao Wuji had a super strong defense. To be frank, if he had not been unprepared for Tang San's hidden weapons, he would not have suffered such a big loss. I won't use my soul power and just stand here and let this kid hit me. What can you do? Just now, I stood there and let Tang San and the other two beat me up. What happened in the end? I'm just a little embarrassed, but I'm fine. In the blink of an eye, Wang Feng rushed in front of Zhao Wuji in almost 2 blinks of an eye. His huge momentum brought with it a hurricane-like airflow. Wang Feng's simple and straightforward punch was directly aimed at Zhao Wuji's lower abdomen. Kid, just now, the three of them used all their strength and still couldn't hurt me. You want to beat me with one punch? Zhao Wuji's eyes flashed with a hint of a smile. I'd like to see how much power your fancy fists have. After saying that, Zhao Wuji also stood there without dodging. He didn't even use his soul power. Everyone held their breaths and watched with rapt attention. Only Dai Mubai's eyes were a little strange. Teacher Zhao, you're too arrogant at this moment. Wang Feng smiled and punched Zhao Wuji's lower abdomen. The next moment, bang! A muffled sound rang out. Boom! Zhao Wuji was directly sent flying by this punch. His body was like a bent steel pipe in midair. His eyes were bloodshot as if they were about to fly out of his eye socket. He was directly blasted dozens of meters away and smashed into the dust, raising a string of dust and smoke. It was extremely shocking. Everyone's mouth was slightly open. This was simply more exaggerated than when they worked together to fight Zhao Wuji just now. The corner of Dai Mubai's mouth twitched slightly. He thought to himself, Wang Feng must have held back at the Rose Hotel. Otherwise, that punch wouldn't have been as simple as just sending me flying. Wang Feng indeed didn't hold back. He used his soul power and all his strength. There was no other meaning, just beat him up. Is he really a healing-type auxiliary soul master? Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Feng blankly. Everyone was an auxiliary soul master. Why was the gap so big? Zhu Zhuqing's expression was also a little gloomy. As an agility-type soul master, she was best at speed, but just now, she couldn't see Wang Feng's speed clearly. What a terrifying power, and it's the purest form of power, Tang San muttered. Just now, the three of them had used all their strength and used all kinds of advantages in the air. The three of them worked together to barely injure Teacher Zhao. But now, Big Brother Feng had sent Teacher Zhao flying with a single punch. Brother Feng usually holds back when fighting with us, right? Xiao Wu said a little fearfully. That was for sure. At this moment, in the dust and smoke in the distance, a figure suddenly stood up. Good boy. As the voice fell, Zhao Wuji's figure walked out of the dust and smoke. 7 soul rings rose from under his feet and shone in the air. At this moment, the first soul ring suddenly shone brightly. Obviously, it was Zhao Wuji's first soul skill. Immovable Wisdom King True Body. It was his first soul skill just now that instantly defeated the combined attack of Tang San, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing, and seriously injured 2 of them, causing them to lose their fighting strength. Any melee attack was completely restrained. Boy, although you are strong, this is all you can do. Zhao Wuji looked at Wang Feng with some excitement in his eyes. The punch just now had indeed made him feel the pain brought by pure power. However, as long as he used his soul power and activated his first soul skill, Immovable Wisdom King True Body, if this boy dared to punch him again, he wouldn't be injured at all. Instead, this boy would be seriously injured. Is that so? Wang Feng stood in place, looked at Zhao Wuji and said slowly, Since you also used your soul skill, then I will also use my soul skill. Given Zhao Wuji's current state, his punch was indeed unlikely to cause any harm to Zhao Wuji. Soul skill? Isn't your soul skill a healing ability? Zhao Wuji snorted coldly. The gap between our soul power is too big. If you want to rely on that healing ability to cause trouble for me, it's unlikely. Everyone was also somewhat puzzled. Wang Feng smiled, opened the golden lotus in his hand, took a deep breath and slowly said, First soul skill, divine transformation. As soon as he finished speaking, light. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.